Hello and welcome to another episode of Xbox Infinite. Why am I talking like a bot? Probably because everyone calls me an X-bot. Hey, you go guys in the chat. I see you all in there going mad. Truly, Toolman, Boba Fett, Talos, Great Monad, Palpatine, Mac Bound, even Spinal 11. How you doing? PC Sucks, RSJ Fan, Thimba, Right Green Potato. Guys, I just wanted to say a big hello this morning. Oh, Tom 909, Penguins suck, Tim Tams for the win. It's going to be a big show today. We are back after a 2-week hiatus. I guess we're going to call this season 2. That's what everyone else does, isn't it? Call it season 2. We've got some great guests this week for you guys. We have the man, the pony inciter of violence, J-Rock. How you doing, man? Welcome to the show. How you been? What have you been playing? What have you been up to?
It's finally good to be on the show, man. It's been a while. You know what I mean? I've been doing great, man. New Year's coming in fresh. Listen, I can't wait to get into all these games from Xbox and whatnot. And yeah, it's been going good. I can't complain.
Yeah, man, it's looking like it's going to be a pretty good year. But we said that in 2022 as well. Oh, shit. KY.
Well, you know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. KY Bob, welcome back. How you doing, man? It's been a while. What have you been up to? What have you been playing? How's things? How's life?
Life is great, man. I'm glad to be back on Xbox Infinite with my my Aussie brethren. And yeah, life is good. I'm anxiously waiting for the Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition to drop on Xbox this month, because we'll actually have a game to play at the end of this month. And I'm excited for that because 2022 was boring.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, right? It's definitely a little bit rough on Twitter. DoomCutie, how you doing? How's your week been? You've been playing a lot of Warcraft, I see. Saw you on Force last night. How's the week been? What have you been up to?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I've really had a good first week back into 2023. Yeah, I've been dipping my toes into a few games actually. Really trying to hang out with lots of different groups of people. So yeah, I smashed out all my weeklies last night on Forza, which was awesome, and really happy to be here.
Awesome, fantastic. JediKnightPete, how you doing? Welcome back. Another week, another Xbox Infinite. How's your week been? What have you been playing? What have you been up to?
Awesome. Happy New Year's to everybody in the chat. Welcome back to Xbox Infinite 2023, bigger and better. Thank you for coming on, J-Rock. Been a long time coming, brother. KY, I think second, third time we've had you on, brother. Mostly part of the panel now. Awesome. Umbra, Cutie, welcome to another year. Riskit. Hopefully this year you can actually learn how to host a little bit better, mate. I'm really good. I finished Elden Ring yesterday, so I was absolutely wrapped. And I had a massive gaming session with Red Dead Panda playing Diablo 3, which was really, really cool. Looking forward to getting into this. Let's do this.
Absolutely. I'll learn to host better when you learn to panel better. Umbra, how you doing, man?
Good comeback, burn. Yeah, I'm good, man. It's good to be back and for the first show of the year for everybody, and happy to be here. Happy to have our guests as well with J-Rock. I'm expecting some slander from you, some expert slander.
Absolutely,
and,
as you should.
Absolutely, and our good brother KY Bob. Absolutely happy to have you both here, and of course being back with my excellent host and co-panelists here today, and happy to see everybody in the chat. What's up, family?
Awesome. Yeah,
All right,
and look,
all right.
if you guys are on Twitter, so I know some of you aren't, some of you are, but if you are on Twitter, go and check out J-Rock's profile. He dropped a tweet this morning or tonight, whichever it is for you. That is absolutely fucking hilarious, and it kind of leads into our first topic, and it is the thumbnail. Wow, PS5's got a manufacturing issue. Seems like a pretty serious design flaw. So very basically, if you stand your PS5 vertically, it could permanently damage the system. It has a bit of a leakage problem with its liquid metal cooling system, whereas it leaks out onto the CPU and basically bricks the console. This is nuts. This is like a 360 level event, or is it? We will see. But I have had my PS5 standing up on its stand only for about 2 months. I pulled it from out of the where it wasn't being used. It's still not being used, but from where it wasn't being used in the lounge room, we whacked it in the studio so I could cap some footage, and I've been standing it up ever since. It makes a hell of a noise. I got to tell you that. I've kind of been complaining about it, and people say there's something touching on the inside. So I don't know if that's got anything to do with the liquid metal, but I have found it to be extremely noisy. This is a serious issue for PlayStation, and I really do wonder how they'll approach it. Here's the thing, though. If you're an Australian, you have recourse. Any manufacturing fault, it doesn't matter how long your warranty is. It could be a month. It could be 10 years. It doesn't matter. If there's a manufacturing fault, the manufacturer has to replace the hardware or whatever it actually is, and fix the problem. But I don't really know how.
Riskit, is it something wrong with how it's manufactured, or is it the people that are fixing it, putting that liquid metal stuff that isn't, like up to spec?
No, it's they're opening the box and the liquid metal's bleeding out onto the CPU, so it's a manufacturing fault. And it's not the first
engineering fault.
Yeah, it's not the first report of it. It's been these reports have been slowly trickling through, and they're coming through to the forefront. So, yeah, I mean, Jay, do you have a PS5?
I currently have 2 PlayStation 5s, both on the stand.
Have you had any dramas with it?
No, not really. Besides the explosion that happened this morning, I've been pretty good.
Massive casualties.
I'm glad you recovered so well to join us.
But isn't it funny, right? The lead architect for the PlayStation 5 retired suspiciously right before these little things start trickling out. Maybe the man knew something.
Yeah, that is strange. That's a very good point. Yeah, that doesn't sound like coincidence to me. I wonder how they're going to approach it. You got 30 million. I mean, they came out and said the other day you got 30 million consoles sitting out there. 30 million consoles at $550 US a piece. That's a lot of money. A lot of money.
That's a good way to get people to purchase a Pro. At least one.
Yeah.
Umbra, I know you got a PS5. Are you excited that the liquid metal is leaking all over your CPU?
Yeah, I'm not too excited. I mean, yeah, man. When I saw the news, I was like, "Wow, that's kind of crazy." I can only imagine coming back home and I return and my LG C1 and my computer and my Xbox are all burned to hell because of the PS5. How unfitting would that be? But no, I mean, I thought about it and gave it thought and said, I don't touch this thing enough anyway, so maybe it's not a problem for me. I only use it for its first party exclusives, so it's over there sitting over there like a
shots fired,
like a homely woman right there, like
right,
don't touch me. So I don't know. I don't think it'll affect me too much. Hopefully,
Man, 8 to 20 hours at a time,
yeah,
2 to 3 times a year. It's not bad.
exactly. That's my thinking. Like I'm barely touching the thing, so I feel like it won't affect me that way. But
well, if it does,
that's my look.
If it does affect you, what's the laws over there? Because I did a bit of research into the Aussie laws, and we're good. Manufacturing faults have to be replaced. The company doesn't have a choice. But what about in America? If you're out of warranty, will they replace it?
You know what? If you have a warranty, I'm guessing they would. And I'm guessing it'll probably become such an issue with a class action lawsuit if it was widespread enough to where they'd have to do so. I mean, I look at Microsoft and what happened with them at the 360. And by the way, I had 7 red rings of death, and they took care of every single one. And I got games, cash, and all of that out of it. So if Microsoft has to go to that standard, I think Sony has to as well.
Cutie?
I mentioned
How long is the warranty for the PS5?
I don't know.
1 year.
That's the standard warranty for it.
Yeah,
out of warranty then.
Cutie, what were you going to say about the PS5 leaking all over itself?
Look, usually leaking isn't a problem, is it? No, what I was going to say is on KY's show yesterday, I mentioned that, we don't know the conditions around where people have their PS5s. And if their PS5 is shoved underneath, in a cabinet, dusty, not enough airflow, that kind of thing, I really do think the temperatures would become a problem. Now, this pattern was only it's a new one. It's not in anything else that they've released. So
Thank God.
the pattern released in it released in 2019. Now, the reason why they chose this is because it just gets so hot inside the system. And like, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it sounds like the PS5 is going to take off. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to say, look, in this fine print somewhere, we suggest that all users, have a very well ventilated area, and whether that's how they're going to get out of it if it does become a massive issue. But I do have a feeling that might be the case.
So you think they might try to turn it around on the consumer and put it back on them?
Look, when was the last time you guys cleaned out the fans of your PS5?
Never.
Well, I never turned it on, so it's. I mean,
Now, here in my studio, my PS4 Pro, my Series X, and my PC are right here next to me, and I'm at least once a month. The PC, the intake fans on the front get cleaned out. I run a brush and a can of air across the top of the Series X and the back of the Series X.
You run the can of air across it. I thought you were supposed to spray it in there.
No, you don't want to blow the stuff back into it.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. See, yeah.
But if you would humor me, I've got an engineering background. I could tell you exactly what the issue is with the PS5.
Absolutely. I was going to come to you because you did drop a whole lot of knowledge in the chat last night. So yeah, go ahead.
So a lot of people are making the comparison. Well, everybody's motherboards are sitting vertically. What happens with liquid metal on the CPU? And if you don't know the characteristics of liquid metal paste, it's more of a solid in its cool state. It does have a compound in it that does make it spreadable, which is why you can apply it, but it really becomes much more of a liquid form under heat and duress, which helps to close the gaps. And so the PlayStation went with liquid metal because of the rapid introduction into boost mode that the PS5 happens to do, and nothing transfers heat faster than liquid metal. So they went with this. But the problem is liquid metal in your PC, that heatsink is so tightly pressed against your CPU, and your PC doesn't move. You've either got a liquid block on it, if you're running liquid cooling, or you've got your factory heatsink and fan on that liquid metal, and that has got no momentum in either direction either because it's centered on your CPU, so it's spinning center. With your PlayStation 5, liquid metal is not a good idea because you've basically got this massive piece of copper that gravity is already fighting to pull down. That is attached to your CPU or your APU, and liquid metal's between them. And so, and your cooling fan in the PS5 isn't centered either. It's in the top corner. So when that fan kicks on, it's going to torque the heatsink that it's attached to in a certain direction. For the disc models, any vibrations from your Blu-ray drive in the disc models, that's going to cause an issue. If that system sat there and was completely stable and had a smaller heatsink that wasn't being favored by gravity in a different direction, then it wouldn't be an issue. But there are so many factors in the PS5. It's just not made to be used in a system that is got more strapped to the CPU than just a heatsink, water block and fan. It's just not meant to be done that way. And they've even gone as far as so if you put liquid metal in your computer, if you replace your thermal paste with liquid metal on your CPU, you don't get a seal. There isn't a seal because it's not an issue. Sony saw this as a potential hazard and the PS5 has a seal around its APU in case that liquid metal was to seep. Now, that seal can be broken because of the reasons I just mentioned. The force of the heatsink in an odd direction, the vibrations from a Blu-ray player, an off-centered fan, it's all fighting against that seal, and the seal is failing, and that liquid metal is running out. And that's it in a nutshell. That's the difference between the motherboard sitting vertically. It works. It's just a small structure on your CPU that's centered. The PlayStation is not. So anything off center of that APU is going to affect that liquid metal differently than we've seen in the industry yet. So yeah, this is a big issue.
Yeah, and it's a thing for me. I mean, it may not be a thing for a lot of people. A lot of people out there would just be like, yeah, I'll just turn your PS5 on its side, like horizontal. And yeah, I mean, but I've set up my whole studio kind of around the fact that I can tower that PS5 and the Series S that I've got in here as well. So it's a bit annoying. I'll have to go through and reshuffle my whole... No, you know what? Fuck it. The government can sort them out. They can replace it when I won't reshuffle anything. Fuck PlayStation. But you know, I mean, people who aren't too sure about that or worried about it, then they would have to reshuffle whatever their system's doing. So yeah, it does suck. It's a serious design flaw. I'm very interested to see if PlayStation will actually come out and have something to say. Just something I kind of wanted to talk about briefly, but JediKnightPete, you haven't added anything on the topic. What do you think about PlayStation poor design?
I honestly think that this is a whole lot of nothing. I think that if we were going to see problems, we would have seen them already. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping that we're not in a red ring of death scenario. I don't think that's good for anybody, especially with the shortages. I think PlayStation just announced that the shortage drop is finally, back to a place where they can manage it. And PS5s are actually out there in the wild now. You can actually find them on shelves. I don't want to be an Xbot. So I really hope this is a whole lot of nothing. And you know what negative things go like on Twitter. They seem to blow up. And I haven't heard of this actually causing an issue out there, apart from what we've seen on Twitter. So I'm hoping it's a whole lot of nothing.
Look, at the end of the day, the sides of the PS5 wouldn't be curved if it was supposed to be laying on its side.
Yeah.
And,
And that really bothers me too, because that seems like that was an afterthought. Like, well, we'll give you the ability to do this. So that means that they always meant it to be standing up. And if this was going to be an issue, then they always meant it to be standing up, and they didn't see this.
like both Xboxes have the little rubber feet on the sides where you can have it standing up or like vertical or horizontal. So clearly it was an afterthought, and it's really, really disappointing.
Yeah, and look, I agree with, and I can't believe I'm going to say this. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me? I agree with Red Dead Panda in the chat. Oh my God, sorry. I agree with Red Dead Panda in the chat when she said, I think we're going to hear more about this, more problems with day one edition PS5 consoles. I agree. It's 2 years into the life cycle. These things have been out for the 2 years, 2 and a bit years. This is where you will start to see problems. The integrity will start to fail. So, I mean, Pete, I understand what you're saying, but, these consoles are technically, as far as tech goes, pretty new. And so it kind of makes sense that we're starting to see them now. Look, I'll move on to the next topic. I don't want to sit on this for too long, as I'm sure PlayStation doesn't want us to either. But before I do, guys, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you are new here. And Mark has dropped a $5 super chat. It says PS5s needed liquid metal for their advertised 8K system. By the way, Sony makes no mistakes. Yeah, it literally says 8K on the box. I don't know what the fuck happened. They made one game that rendered at 8K, and it's for children. Moving on to the next topic. I'm being a bit of a bot today, aren't I? The FTC seems to be suing for peace, man. Really weird, this. And look, I know, we're sick of the FTC. Everyone's sick of the FTC. Blah 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 blah. But this is like, I found this pretty interesting. I do watch Destin, and look, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sick of the FTC. I love it, man. The shit that comes out, it's been like absolutely hilarious. I love reading the back and forths. It's like a little bitch fight with lawyers. It's great. But anyway, I know people are sick of it, so we won't sit on it too long. However, what I will say is they had their scheduling meeting earlier in the week, which is pretty short. Not a whole lot came out of it. But very basically, Microsoft are waiting. They're not going to come to the table now. So the FTC stated to the judge that they are willing to negotiate. And that the lawyer has the power to negotiate, which is pretty odd, seeing as they kicked them out of the fucking room when Microsoft went down there to give concessions. They didn't even hear them out, and now they're saying they want to negotiate, which I think is posturing, and they're just saying, oh, yeah, we're definitely ready to talk. Or it could be that they've realized their entire case has fallen to bits in like a matter of fucking days. Sorry for the swearing, I'm in a swearing mood. In a matter of days after they announced that they're going to take him to court. Like, man, if you were the FTC, you would be just shaking your head. Anyway, or there's other rumors. We'll get into that. There's other rumors that apparently people have come down from on high and said, look, you're going to have to sue for peace here. But Microsoft said if they get the go-ahead from the CMA and the EC and the FTC doesn't settle, they'll go forward and close the deal anyway. So they will close over and above the FTC and battle the court case. Now, that to me, and I don't know if anyone said this, I've caught a lot of podcasts, and I don't think I've heard this, but that there was some rumors, some talk, that when they hit that deadline and the deal goes from, I think at the moment it's sitting at the 2 billion mark, if the deal does not close, they've got to pay out. I think it jumps another 2 bill or another 1 billion, or it jumps 2 billion, whatever it jumps. I think this is a pretty clear indication that Microsoft does not care about that deadline insofar as they're going to court no matter what. I think the only thing that stops this now is if the CMA and the EC, that's the EU's regulators, stop the deal. And I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's very likely they'll offer concessions. The CMA doesn't have a history of asking for concessions. However, just fold it into this, and I'm going to go to the panel in just a minute. Fold it into this, the CMA pushed their deadline back 8 weeks. And that to me seems like they're looking at concessions. They cited the fact that there's just a lot of evidence to go through before they make their decision. And I don't think that's it. I think the CMA are back and forth in negotiations with each other, talking about what concessions they should be placing on the deal. And I think that they'll bring that to Microsoft. I believe the deadline was originally March the 1st. I think it's been pushed back to April. No, not April. August, April, May, June, July, August? No, April. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's been pushed back 8 weeks.
April, mate.
It is April?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not 8
April,
weeks.
mate, yeah.
It's only been pushed back. It's only been pushed back a month. Where the hell did I get 8 weeks from? I'm gonna stop writing things down when I'm tired. Anyway, it's been pushed back a month. So yeah, this is very interesting. All the machinations that's kind of happening around the deal. This to me just says this is all good for Microsoft. One thing you have to understand, and I will go to panel, is that the FTC really had the power to force concessions before they took them to court. They lost every single bargaining chip. They just threw it down the drain when they took them to court. And because I think the FTC now know, or I don't know if they care if they're going to win or not. But I think they can see that they're not going to win. They've got a weak case. I think they're the judge has thrown out. Now, I didn't get a chance to check out if it was this specific judge. I know their last 11 cases have been thrown out, but the actual judge, the FTC judge, has threw out their last case. I do know that for a fact. So I don't think they have a very good chance. I think Microsoft knows it. The FTC knows it. And this is why I think the FTC are now willing to negotiate. Pete, I'm going to jump over to you. What do you think's going on? What's going on in the back rooms of this deal? Do you think the CMA are looking to block it? Do you think they're looking at concessions? Do you think the FTC have changed their tune? Or why do you think the FTC have changed their tune?
I think the CMA are actually, I'm going to take them at their word, and they just got so many people writing into them, having an opinion on it, that they want to go through everything and just do their due diligence. And I think they got that many submissions that they're taking that little bit of extra time to make sure they do their due diligence. On the FTC side, I think it's purely political. It's ridiculous to me that they're now suggesting that they are willing to make concessions when Microsoft came to the table and they basically just kicked them out of the office. And look, I think Microsoft were pretty happy with that. You know, although the deal would have got done sooner, Microsoft, I think, know that in court, none of their arguments will stand up. And if you actually have a look, Microsoft actually took away some of their arguments out of the FTC statement, the statements that they made to the FTC. So they took out the argument about it being not constitutional. They took out the argument about it not being, I think, the Fifth Amendment. So they're trying to make it look, not so bad. I think, look, although I think those arguments do still stand up. I think they just wanted to have a softer, route when, when arguing in courts, and that suggests to me that there have been discussions in the background because, like I said, I think this is more to do with optics than actual legal arguments. So that's a good look. In terms of the FTC, I never thought that they could win this case in the first place. I think that this is all purely political, and I mean, it's really, really disappointing that they've gone that route. I think that it's just a big waste of taxpayer dollars, and we've had this conversation, Riskit, that they're playing political games with the people's money. I think that's disgraceful. This deal will go through. It's just a matter of when. I can see a lot of people in the chat betting on when it'll go through. I think it will go through in August. I think they're going to take it all the way to court. I really, really do. I just think that Lena Khan is stubborn and she is purely political in nature. I think that's why she was given the job as the youngest FTC chair. She's currently on maternity leave as well. And so I'm sure they're going to give it a little bit of time for that. So I really can't see this deal going through before it gets put in front of a judge. And the problem I have with that is the first judge that it's getting put in. And I know that we spoke about this, Riskit, and you said that he's denied, 11 cases in a row, but he still is an FTC judge. And so I can just see them tapping on the shoulder and saying, do us a favor. And although it shouldn't work like that, unfortunately, sometimes it does. So I'm hoping it goes through in August. But look, this could just be delayed to no end.
Look, I definitely don't. It's not. In some cases, I can understand what you're saying there, but I just don't think that judge is on board with what the FTC's doing. And he's been around for what, 15 plus years?
He got appointed in 1999, I think.
Yeah.
So he's been there for a long time.
Long time. So he's seen a lot of administrations. He's seen a lot of heads of the FTC. I think that he would probably put his integrity over, hey, do us a favor. Or you would hope that it would work like that. I'm pretty sure it has been working like that currently. It does seem like he doesn't give a shit what Shere Khan says. If the case is not solid, he's throwing it out. Look, I'm going to jump over to you, J-Rock. Why do you think, and it's a good point that Pete raised, though, as well, Microsoft did remove 2 sections from their filing about the FTC's approach being unconstitutional and outright illegal. So why do you think Microsoft has done that? Why do you think the FTC has changed their tune? Do you think there's talks going on in the background?
That's exactly what I think is going on. I think there's talks, negotiations being done in the background. And part of that was like, hey, you guys were a little bit too rough on us. How about you take that back and we see what we can do, work this whole thing out. Listen, I'm just eager for this deal to get done, personally, because I want these Call of Duties on Game Pass, and I need to troll some more on Twitter. But yeah, man. But as for the CMA, I think they're doing the right thing, man. They've handled this better than the FTC, in my opinion. They've tried to get opinions from other people, even taking a poll, if you guys remember, of who wanted it done or not done or whatnot, or if people thought it was going to harm the industry. So I think they're going to do concessions, like you said, Riskit. But I think all in all, this deal is going to go through sooner or later.
Yeah, it's just taken way, way too long. And I kind of get everyone's sentiment. I don't think it's that we're kind of sick of it. Like, the drama's great. Love it. Live for it. But I think we want these games in Game Pass, Umbra. I think that's what we've been waiting for. We've been hoping for Diablo 4 to hit, and I honestly now
June 6th, Diablo 4 Risk, June 6th.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it goes through before then, mate.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening, Umbra. Do you think that it's going to hit then? Why do you think the FTC has backed off the way that they have and are now suing for what seemingly seems like suing for peace?
I mean, they don't have much of a case. I think we've all come to that conclusion. I think they know it, and they know we know it. I mean, it's like everybody pointed out, it's grandstanding at this point, and it's obvious why. Because it's Microsoft. It's one of the biggest tech companies in the world, and such. Yeah, they want to kind of rest their head on this and say, hey, we stopped them, or we hindered them, or if they could possibly stop them, they went out on a limb. I also think they didn't really know what the hell they were talking about. So and it became apparent once you start seeing them talk about things and mention PlayStation this or that, and how their argument centered around trying to protect PlayStation's lead and market, and it made no sense. And how that would actually work for us as consumers, and it I think it just became evident.
Yeah, Umbra, they even went as far as saying that Nintendo isn't part of the
Exactly.
same industry.
They used the PlayStation talking point, a
Yeah.
PlayStation fanboy talking point.
Oh, dude,
Nintendo doesn't matter.
How good was that graphic? They released a graphic saying, "Oh, hey, Nintendo's for kids, and here's a graphic to prove it." From Sony, and the graphic was like 20-year-olds to 40-year-olds at the most.
Right.
It's like,
what they meant were 20 to 40-year-old kids at heart. That's what they meant. But yeah,
what do you mean, Toys R Us kids? They never grew up.
They never grew up. Little Peter Pan kids. But yeah, it's weird. How they that was basically a PlayStation fanboy talking point. If you've been on Twitter for any amount of time, I've heard them say it so many times that Nintendo was a kid's toy. I've heard them say it all the time. And I think we know why. So Nintendo outdoes PlayStation and Microsoft, and routinely in game sales and console sales, and often. So that's an enemy to PlayStation fanboys. So obviously they're going to write it off. But I think that Microsoft is pretty confident here, right? So you had them talk about their meeting with the judge Michael Chappelle, and they said they expect the EU and UK to settle soon. So possibly with remedies, as you guys pointed out. But Microsoft and FTC are both on an expedited schedule. So as MacBound, me and him was saying in the chat, and I believe Assassin, and I've heard other people say it too, I believe April, once they meet back up, I believe that's when everything is going to be settled, and it might end at least, if not the end of April, and probably at the end of May, I think. And I was listening to Jazz and Rand earlier, and Jazz and Rand came to the conclusion that it could come to a close, because they're going to close regardless of what the FTC does. They're going to close it regardless, and then by close meaning they're going to buy it.
It's a bold move, isn't it?
It is.
That is a bold move.
It absolutely is, and you only make such a bold move if you're pretty confident that the EU and UK and CMA are going to okay it. And I think that's what it is. They're like, hey, they're going to okay it, so it's going to force the hand of the FTC. And I think that once they do that, I think so. My point, my bad. I went away from my point. I was saying that Rand and Jazz came to the conclusion that the deal might be done a little after, so maybe July. And they said what they'll do then, because of Diablo 4, because I'm in a firm belief that Microsoft wants this expedited for several reasons. One of them is to have Diablo 4 launch straight into Game Pass day and date. That's one of my beliefs. But not that it matters to their big overall, but I think it's a big feather in the cap to have that launch day and date into the service, obviously. But I think, and what they pointed out is that they'll have expansions after the fact for Diablo that launches straight into the service, which will be cool too. So I think it's a win-win either way. But Microsoft in general, yeah, they're aggressive, as you've seen. And also, I don't know if you all saw it, but they walked back a statement they made to the FTC where they said that it was unconstitutional and such and so on. Did you all see that?
Yeah, that's what Riskit said.
Yeah.
So you would only do that. You would only do that if you're probably behind the scenes talking to them, and they're like, hey, you need to walk that back, and then we can come to this table for this. That's my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm of the belief that they're all talking behind the scenes, like you all pointed out, and negotiating. I hear this thing where people keep talking about the concessions and such, and it just sounds like it's like Microsoft offers so much already that we know about. It's like, do they really need to offer more? At this point, it seems silly to me to keep hearing that. Like, I know that's what it is, right? But it's like, I'm feeling like Tyrese over here, J Rock. What more do you want from me? What's going on? Yeah, like
That's
what
a good
else
point,
do you
Umbra.
need?
What concessions would you know,
Maybe they just want some
make
guarantee
the deal
on
go
paper.
through?
They probably want something on paper.
Yeah, like I don't get
It
it.
was
I
on
don't know
paper,
what else
Jay.
they could
It
use.
was on paper.
Yeah, they
offered
get
him
it
a
on
10-year
paper and
contract for
everything.
Call of Duty. Yeah.
Well, that's
Exactly.
the thing. That's the thing. At this
For them,
point,
Nintendo and
They
to
probably want
Valve.
it for
At
how
this-
long? Or
at this point, they don't have to offer anything. That's that they threw their bargaining chips down the toilet. That's when they took it to court. So now it'll be a stripped back offering. Microsoft. I don't think Microsoft are going to come to the table with what they came to the table with before. I think that they'll come with something a little bit less and then let the FTC bargain push that back up. I don't think they're going any more than what they've already offered. No way are they going any more than what they've already
I
offered.
would hope not.
And I think that they would have pulled back that offer to PlayStation to put Call of Duty on PS Plus. But look, to be honest, I couldn't give a shit if it's on PS Plus. As long as it's on Game Pass, it's really all that matters to me. So, and look, we know that this deal's always been about mobile, so that might be something that they do offer. KY Bob, what do you think's going on in the background there? Do you think that the CMA is very likely to close with concessions? Do you think the FTC are talking to Microsoft and looking to find a way to close this deal with concessions?
So what I think is going on, you notice, so you mentioned the CMA pushed back their decision to April. Well, the EU is supposed to make final decision in May, and I think
It says, I thought it was March 23rd.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Doom. I got it wrong. It's the month. The EU is the month before the CMA moved theirs to, not the month after. You're right. And this may have been on the suggestion of Microsoft, because think about it. If Microsoft's going to make concessions to one, they don't want to have to go back to the table a month later and say, okay, we're going to have to start all over with a different list of concessions. I think they're trying to get the EU and the CMA as close as they possibly can, so they can just do a blanket list of concessions for both bodies and be done with it. And yeah, it is a bold move to go ahead and purchase Bethesda. I am not aware of, because I mean, once money's changed hands and everybody signed on the dotted line, and yes, Activision Blizzard is now part of Microsoft. After that's already done, of course, they're going to be sued again. This is going to go to federal court if they step over the FTC and go ahead and make the purchase. But I'm not aware of what happens if, like, say they do go to federal court and something happens and they can't go through, but technically it's already gone through. Money's already changed hands. Stocks are already up. People have already made money. The
unions have approved it.
Yeah, I don't know what's the drawback. Because they can't say, well, this never happened. No, it's already happened. People have already made money off of it. We're getting into trading at this point. It's bigger than.
Yeah, well, you kind of make a good point there, because I can't remember the name of the guy, but someone who's pretty well known in the stock market trading and betting on the right horse. He's dumped a whole bunch more money in. So that's pretty
Warren
interesting.
Buffett.
Yeah, Warren Buffett's. I think he dumped $9 million. I don't follow the stocks or trading or anything like that, but I just before I go to Cutie, because Cutie, I want to get your opinion on whether you think the FTC is bargaining in the background with Microsoft and giving us more of a likelihood that this deal will push through by April. I just wanted to acknowledge Brampton Podman in the chat. Thank you for the giggle. I appreciate it. He says, this is so sad. I'm praying for all my Xbox brothers and sisters that they don't starve this year and have something to talk about besides regulatory business deals. Well, Brampton, I'll save your comment and I will bring it back up when the ABK deal goes through and we're all playing Diablo 4 and you're paying $70 for it. Cutie. What do you think? What do you think's going on in the background there?
Look, I think there's so much going on in the background, you guys. Honestly, in every single business deal, in everyone's lives, it's social media. There are so many things going on behind the scenes, and I'm going to take Umbra's comment about this is happening, and it will happen. And I think once they get the go ahead from the EU in March, I think it'll be full steam ahead.
Mm-hmm. I 110% think so as well.
Like, and chat, it's look, we're not business people. Well, I'm certainly not. And at the end of the day, we've got businessmen and women, lawyers trying to make decisions about video games who've probably never touched one. So, and that's frustrating. I get that. And we just want to see the best outcome for consumers.
Absolutely. That's what I'm looking for.
No wonder they're looking after Jim Ryan, because they have that in common. They're not gamers.
Yeah, we've all seen that man hold a controller, or like I don't even know if you call it hold it. He was touch the controller really with thumb and forefinger. It was
Riskit. They told him, open your hands and we shall place it on there.
All you need to do is blow on it.
Right.
Who's your daddy as well? Like made a comment in the chat that I just wanted to call out. He said they'd have to, and I believe this is in response to what would happen if Microsoft went ahead and closed the deal and the FTC indeed was successful in blocking the deal. To unwind the deal, he said, if to unwind the merger, they would have to forfeit the $68 billion, very expensive and much harder than it sounds. They would likely also be fined. Yeah, and you have to unwind the deal, and there's lots of ways to do that. You can't just like go, bah! Like give us the $68 billion back and you run yourself.
Rum sometimes does the trick, you unwind and all that.
They would probably have to strip down parts of the company, and I'll say it again, and I'll say to Mark from Legendary Drops again, what's the scary part about this deal is if it doesn't go through, share prices drop. They don't drop significantly. When you're talking about percentage wise, maybe it'll drop 10%, maybe it'll drop 20%. That's a lot of money. They'll be looking to recoup that money. Shareholders will be asking questions. They will lose faith, probably if they haven't already, in the leadership. And then I don't see Activision Blizzard doing anything other than what they have already done to solve this problem, which is sell off the company. And they cannot, there's no one that they can sell to either monetarily or that the regulators will likely allow. So they wouldn't try to push through a full acquisition. I think they strip down the company, and that could be really bad for IPs, for studios, for gaming, for everyone. It may, in some cases, end up being a good thing if someone picks up that studio or an IP and does something great with it. But I think from history, what we've seen, it's very unlikely that happens in that way. We're going to move on because the FTC, everyone gets bored of it, whatever. We're going to move on to the next topic. Before we do, guys, please hit that like button. If you are new here, please hit the subscribe button and the like button while you're there. It doesn't cost you a damn thing, but people who have paid, Tevin with a $5 super chat, he says, good night for a great podcast. Tevin, it's the morning. No, only kidding, Tevin. I know why I pick on Tevin all the time. I love Tevin. Tevin's amazing. Yeah, it's the morning for me.
It's 8 o'clock over here.
Yeah, it's 8:52 in the morning. And I was up till 1 a.m. last night. Won't tell you what I was doing. Moneybag97, did you all hear Modern Warfare 2 and Elden Ring sold more on Xbox than PS, but we buy no games? I know, right? It's crazy.
Speak on it, brother.
John TJ said, hi, everyone. Please hit the like button. This is going to be a fire show. Moneybag97. Yes, dude, absolutely. Moneybag, thank you for the $2 super chat. He kind of repeated his question. We did hear it, dude. Look, guys, if you have a question, you can type question in front of your question. I will read it out. But if you want to super chat and support the show, that's also fantastic. We appreciate you guys just turning up, and everything you do is amazing. And I do like to get to all the questions in the chat if I can. I don't know why I'm highlighting those particular inflections. Question, will Family Game Pass drop before or after the deal goes through? I think pretty likely, Monad, at the moment, a lot of stuff's been put on hold. That was a question in the chat. We'll go to the panel on this one because it's kind of an interesting question. Will Game Pass drop before or after the deal? I'm saying after. I think a lot of things have been put on hold, or were put on hold, and maybe they're starting to move forward again. I think it's very likely to be after. Umbra?
Yeah, it seems like after. I think it'll happen at E3 where they'll announce it. They'll announce that, I think. So if anything, if I'm expecting or at least hoping for the deal to be finished by April or May, then it would make sense that this would happen after. I think they'll announce the family game plan at E3.
Yeah, I think absolutely that's the way it's likely to go, man. I'd agree with you. I think E3 would be a perfect place to announce it. And look, you want as many announcements as you can at E3, right? So you want to build that hype. And I think Family Game Pass, I didn't think it would be. I didn't think, fuck you, Mark. I didn't think it would be, but it's pretty popular. Mark in the chat says, question, your gameplay is hard to watch. Fuck Mark. Damn you, Mark. If you haven't checked out Mark's channel, Legendary Drops, then don't. And if you are checking out Mark's channel, head there and unsubscribe right now. AJH says, questions, why are Penguins so much better than Tim Tams? AJH, you don't know what you're talking about. Suck. Toolman55. Toolman55, we're being attacked. Why is the PS5's problems not being reported on more? Oh, excuse me, sorry. I'm yelling into my mic so much, my throat's exploding. Toolman55, yeah, I think it's weird, dude. Look, it's not being reported, or it has just started to come to light. The console's only 2 years old, so you can't expect these problems to happen early in the console generation. We didn't start seeing red ring issues, I think, until a year after launch. And I personally got one red ring, ring. It's hard to say. And it took
ring,
wing.
Okay, never mind.
And it took 3 years for me to get red ring. Red ring. Fuck it.
Fuck it. Just let it go. Let it go, Riskit. Let it go, brother.
Jean-Marc, and then I'm going to move on to the next topic after this, guys, and I'll pick up any other questions and super chats after the next topic. Jean-Marc Louis with the 199 super chat said they will buy Sega and make a new Altered Beast. I hope that's true.
I agree.
Jean-Marc, I would love that. Yes. Moving on to the next topic.
Listen, you got intelligent people in the chat. I like that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm typing in there right now.
Exactly what
I'm
the hell they're
intelligent,
talking
yeah.
about.
Xbox U.
Well, there are some pony infiltrators in there, so can't be all of them, but
Yeah, I think it's a 10%.
The Xbox fans in there are smart as hell.
10%. 10% of the. Oh, Gerald Mack. Guys, I will read out your super chats and questions in a minute. But I will also say with Legendary Drops, I was kidding about that. Head to his channel, subscribe. I will be on there tomorrow night, joining in their podcast, the Just Gaming podcast, where we talk about everything computers and CPU. Oh my God, no, we're not doing that. All right, the next topic is Fable. Gaz, you got it wrong again. Nah, Gaz is all right. So apparently there was some wild rumors earlier in the week, and we kind of missed jumping on this. It probably would have landed right about around the time that we have our podcast last week. And we kind of missed this one because we didn't go live last week. It was New Year's Eve over here, so we wanted to enjoy that. And there was a rumor saying that Fable had been completely restarted from the beginning, from the ground up, and being rebuilt in UE5. There has since been some responses from developers, both publicly and with some people that we on the panel here know, have spoken to in the background, that in fact, Fable is absolutely fine. It has not restarted Fable. It's still running in the Forza Tech engine. Apparently, it looks amazing. I thought this is just complete bullshit. It came out of 4chan. Look, some stuff comes out of 4chan. Is true, but to me, it's like it's been an 80-20, man. Like there's not a whole lot that comes out of 4chan that you can put stock in, and it's usually in a very anonymous post. So yeah, to me, I don't put much stock in it. I didn't put much stock in it. Turned out that it was a load of shit. However, I kind of want to talk to the panel about Fable, because what I realized, I was on Mr. Boom Show earlier in the week, I didn't realize how passionate I am about Fable. And some of the conversations that we had is like, will Fable be beautiful? I've never doubted for a second for a second that Fable would be a beautiful looking game. The art style would be interesting to see. I would love to see them bring it a little. It was very cartoony back in the day. I would like to see them kind of raise that, bring it a little bit more towards the realism, but not too much towards the realism. But the thing that I'm most excited about, if you guys remember Fable, if you played Fable back in the day, and like I said on Boomshay, I was a real dude bro gamer. I was like shooters, man, Battlefield, Call of Duty, Gears of War, that sort of stuff. That was me. But when they started, Peter Molyneux started talking about Fable, I caught on to that. And the things that he was saying that you could do in the game were like amazing, groundbreaking stuff. He was talking about the world changing due to, you know, based on what actions you took. He was talking about you changing, you know, both physically and then how your reactions with NPCs would happen based on the way that you behaved in the world. They didn't quite hit the mark. He didn't hit everything that he promised. With that Fable 1, they pushed it a little bit forward with Fable 2. It was still an amazing game. Those set of games did things that games had never done before. And that's what I want to see from Fable. That's what I want from Fable. I do care about graphics, but I don't give a fuck about graphics, really. I want Fable to bring AI forward. I want Fable to bring RPGs, open world RPGs forward. They have been stale for too long. And I think there's so much you can do with a game like this. J-Rock, I'm going to go to you. What do you want to see from Fable? Do you have faith in the developers to bring us a Fable that I'm talking about here, a Fable that brings us into next-gen RPGs?
I'll say this. I have faith in them bringing their best vision of Fable forward. What that is, I don't know. I hope, and this is my only concern, I hope they keep the same humor that made Fable unique. You know, the little, you could kick a chicken and all that, but my only concern is that doesn't carry over. Because of the climate we're in, we're very sensitive. I don't want, you know, Peter making a tweet talking about we kicking chickens. You know,
where's FEMA at?
Right. All the Peter. So
did my ass say FEMA? I just did.
Yeah, you said FEMA.
The weather.
You kind of confused. You kind of confused me there. I was like, what the?
Yes.
Is a hurricane?
It'll be a weather concern. Yeah.
Nah, but yeah, that's my only concern. I don't know how you guys feel. Do you think they're gonna carry over that humor, and we could kick chickens and just make fun of old men walking down the street and homeless people? No, you remember that.
That's why I'm happy that it's gone to a UK developer, and I think it's a lot of the reason why they chose you know, the racing team to make the game, because they are a UK developer, and that humor is what made Fable great. And I disagree, Riskit. I don't think Fable was ever about graphics. It was about the humor. It was about the world of Albion.
Well, hang on a minute. Hang on.
Stuff like
hang on a minute.
Gargoyles.
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute.
And then
you're misquoting me. I never said it was about graphics. I never said that. So a lot of people had talked about the graphics. And that's what people are talking about at the moment.
It's going to be a beautiful game.
I said it's going to be a beautiful game. I said, but I don't think that that's what Fable is to me. Fable is all about gameplay.
I feel the same way. I really, really do. I don't know how they're going to do the combat, because the combat was very simplistic in the first game. So I think A was your melee button. I think X was your magic, and Y was your crossbow, or something along those lines. I think that definitely needs to be updated and upgraded. But apart from that, as long as they keep the humor, the gargoyles, stupid things like being able to get married and get STDs if you sleep around, that is what made Fable great to me. Yeah. And they have to bring back the dog, because anybody that's played Fable 2 and didn't save the dog at the end didn't play the game correctly, if you ask me.
Now, Pete, I just say I'm concerned about that, because when you tend to chase that Metacritic awards and high standard, you try to, you know, taper back, you know, things like humor. You see how High on Life got criticized for just that? It got bad reviews based on the language and you know, and the cursing. Like, well, some of these jokes didn't hit. I didn't like the humor. And all this cursing. 3 out of 10. Like, what?
Yeah, ridiculous.
So that's my only concern, when these companies start chasing that Metacritic score and stuff like that, and they start doing these generic games, you know, and they don't really put all their love and affection into it. Know what I mean, Umbra?
Yeah, I absolutely do. And we talked about that, I think, maybe at the last show we had last year, we were talking about how these review scores for High on Life didn't make sense. And you give a game a 2 and a 3 out of 10, that tells you that the game is broken.
Right,
So that's
unplayable.
exactly. You can't give it that just off you don't like the humor. That's bias. That's, you know what I mean? That's extreme bias right there. So that tells you everything you need to know. I don't feel like Fable will fall into that rock. I feel like I do hear you on the humor part because that's the thing I've seen most Fable fans say they want them to kind of keep intact that humor that made Fable stand out a bit, on top of everything else as far as like being a good guy or bad guy and it reflecting on your character.
And Umbra, I think a lot of Xbox fans are just we grew up on that humor,
Hmm.
and that's why we still desire games like Conquer,
Absolutely.
right?
And I wish that Microsoft would see it the way we see it too
Mm-hmm.
and get those games out there. But yeah, yeah, absolutely. We got to have the return of the chicken kicker. That has to happen, right? It has to be one of our little nicknames. Yeah.
I
So
want to actually
I'm with
ask the
you on
chat,
that.
Umbra, what did you choose for the ending of Fable 2? Did you choose the money to save the people or to save the dog? I'd be really, really interested to see what everybody else did. Do you remember what you guys did, Jay,
Yeah. I
Umbra?
sacrificed that dog. Yeah, my dog. No, I'm
Yeah,
joking.
I did the same.
Oh,
I don't know what I did. I can't remember right now, actually. But
yeah.
knowing me, I
Money.
probably did all. I probably did
Money.
You
all of
chose the money. You
Money.
I
chose
took
the
the
dark
money.
side, Jay. Okay, all right, cool,
it.
cool.
No, I think I did both, Pete, because I think it's an achievement tied to either one. So I'm pretty sure I
Oh
did
yeah,
both,
yeah.
knowing
Forgot you're an
me.
achievement hunter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I did both. That's why it's so hard for me sometimes. We talk about this. What ending did you have? I'm like everything. But yeah, man. Like I hear you guys on the graphics thing. I'll say this though. This is my thought on it. And the conversation was, should it be an Unreal Engine 5 or should they keep with Forza Tech, that modified engine? If I had the choice, it would have been Unreal Engine 5. And there's several reasons for that. For one, it's obviously one of the most beautiful, well working engines that people study in to get into game development. It makes so much sense to use Unreal Engine 5. It's ridiculous. I want Fable not only to keep that humor and to update the combat and everything like that, but I do want it to look beautiful. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think and I think it will obviously look good in the Force Tech. It's a great engine, right, as far as visuals. But I would
It's
like
not proven, but is it outside of racing?
abs. That's the thing I
Yeah,
got a
that's
problem with.
true.
Yeah, and so I wonder if that will be an issue for that reason. You know what I mean? So that's the only
The
thing I
only
have an
reason
issue
I
with.
want them to stay with Forza Tech Umbra is because they know it. They know it inside and out. And we know that they can create a beautifully looking open world game. Now, whether that translates over to an RPG is yet to be seen. But I'm
Yeah,
thinking the Playground games know what they're doing. I mean, they have said numerous times they want to be the preeminent gaming studio, for Xbox. And they've definitely proved, their worth with Forza Horizon. That game is just phenomenal in every way. I'm not a
hmm
big racing fan, but I love that game, so I will give them leeway. And if they've chosen to go the Force Tech route, then I'm behind them. Just my worry is, are they? I know they're bringing in a whole new team now.
yeah, that's
If you're
my thing
bringing in
too.
yeah,
And that's why I
yeah.
said Unreal Engine 5 would have made more sense because a lot of people that they're bringing in, a lot of them, if you looked at their LinkedIn, a lot of them are proficient in Unreal Engine. So that's what my thinking is like. But I'll say this too. We have our brother 3-Bit who was in the chat earlier. If you all didn't know, 3-Bit is working on Fable. So and he sounds positive about it every time he sounds positive anytime you talk with him, but he seems like I haven't seen him show any signs of concern when it comes to Fable as far as things go when they've had their talks. I think they're pretty content with what they're using. I'll say that.
We had a conversation the other day, didn't we, Umbra? And you want them to actually show a little bit more of Fable. And we
Hmm.
know that Matt Booty has been pushing them to maybe show a little bit more of Fable because he just thinks it's ready. But Playground don't want to show it. They don't think the game's ready yet. Now, do you still feel like that? Do you still want to see more?
I do. I don't think they need to go above and beyond, but like they need to show us something. I think at this point, as me and when we were talking about it, me and Cutie, we came to that conclusion that it was about 5 years in development, if not 6, from incubation to pre-production, everything else like that. At this point, it's been about 5 years. At the very least, it's been 5 years. I think we can get a little bit of a vertical slice of something. Show us what the game looks like.
Yeah,
Show
but
us the character.
so what you guys were talking about earlier with, you know, when it comes to using Forza Tech and then the benefits of using Unreal 5, those benefits are definitely there. I get what you're saying. It would be a quicker development, but they must have faith in their engine. Now, if you're switching gears on an engine to a different style of game, from an open world racer to an open world RPG, some of the tools are going to be there, but a lot of the tools aren't going to be there. You're going to have to retool the engine. You're going to have to be doing things on the fly. And then, yeah, when you're bringing in a whole new team, like you're going to have to train those guys up. It's not something that gets taught in development school, proprietary engines. That's just kind of like how, you know.
That's my thing, though, Risk. Do you want to go through the route?
But
and excuse my background. Do you want to go through the route of having them train for that?
Yes.
We already know game production for a AAA game now takes at least 6 years already.
Yeah, so they've got
to train on trying to make that with that, or use an engine that could get the game out sooner.
So they've got faith. They've got faith in the engine. Is clearly what's going on here. So they and as Playground, I think you would have faith in your own engine because it's produced nothing but greatness and quality. And so I think it's worth taking the time. And then you need to look down the line, I think, right? They're going to be using Forza Tech for, obviously, their Forza games. But if this ends up being one of the top games, you know, of the year that it's released and of all time, as I think the original Fable is, they're very likely to go ahead and make a second, right? And if that happens, you've then got a tooled up engine ready to rock and roll, ready to pump out the next game. I have no issue with developers taking their time.
Yeah, I'm with you on the taking the time part. But do they, though? Do they have this faith in the engine like that? Because the last thing we saw was that Microsoft told them they were forced to work on that engine. Do you all remember that?
Yeah, but I don't believe it. I don't think that's...
No, that was certified by Jez. That was certified. That wasn't.
No, he didn't certify it. He said it doesn't. He said that's what he heard, and he didn't know how true it was.
No,
he didn't certify it.
That's literally on Windows Central. It says that they were forced. It says literally that.
Yeah, no, he reported that's what he heard.
Rumor.
He reported that's what he heard. He reported he heard that rumor, but it's not certified, as in it's not confirmed. He didn't confirm that.
No,
hey,
I don't think it was. I don't think it was a rumor, but I'll look through it again to make sure. But my thing is this still, and it goes back to this for me. And I think, and I'm not doubting the Forza Tech engine. I know it's a great engine, but like me and Pete were saying a minute ago, it's set in that background of racing. How well would that work out versus them using Unreal Engine 5 in the time that it takes to get this game out? That's my problem. So it's like, if you use Unreal Engine 5, I think at this point we would have already seen proof of concept. We would have seen it in action at this point, I think. Versus, and the same thing applies, by the way, when we discussed this about Halo. The same thing applies to Halo. Had they not had this whole runaround with the engine issues that they were going to do before, not only do I believe Halo would have turned out great at launch, and where they wouldn't have to have all these issues where we would have been so dry as far as content, I think the game would have run better and looked better. Obviously, it would have looked better, but I think all of that would have helped too. So I think, much in the same vein, since these people train in Unreal Engine, I think it would have served it better to use that versus that engine, personally.
Yeah, so
No, but if the new people coming on board have been with other studios and they're working with Unreal Engine, how would they have experience with Forza Tech? They wouldn't.
Yeah, well,
that's
what he's saying. That's what he's saying, and then you would have to train people. And I understand what you're saying, but all that is time. You've got so the whole studio is not brand new. They have brought guys across from Playground, their original studio, and they'd be leading the team. They would have engineers, they would have developers that are versed in the engine. So it's all it is time. And this is the thing. I think people aren't giving them the time. Like, you have to understand that that's what they have to do. Yeah, if they use Unreal 5, like, maybe that would have saved time, but then what else would they have sacrificed? Right? Like, apparently the new Forza that we're getting, Forza Motorsport that's coming hopefully this year, it utilizes ray tracing at 120 frames per second, is what they were saying. That's the engine. that engine being able to be optimized. What can they do with that engine? They obviously have faith in the engine to be able to push that game forward.
Listen, I agree with staying with what you know, especially in these times of the pandemic and everything like that. And you want your core developers that's gonna take the brunt of this job to actually know what the hell they're doing in case they have to work from home. Because these cases are going back up, and you never know what's going. May have another lockdown in a year and a half or so. Who knows?
Oh, don't say that, Jay. Don't even think.
Well, I'm just saying. That's why you stick to what you know. You know, because you know the future is too unpredictable right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look, I have full faith in. I'm going to repeat it. I have full faith in Playground Games. I think that they should use the engine that they want to use. I think Red Dead Panda made another great point in the chat that this is their first RPG and it's a beloved IP. And I don't think that they want to show it until they know it's going to hit the mark. We've seen what happens with games that show bad the first time they show it. It is very difficult to get back that first impression. You know, first impressions last.
Yeah, that's very true, Pete. I mean, my thing is this, and much like you said, Playground, they've done nothing but put out, and I hate to say the word, but I'm going to say it this one time, bangers. They put out nothing but bangers, right? So, I felt dirty saying it.
Right.
Someone clip
I
that.
felt dirty hearing that.
I felt dirty. I'm sorry. They gave
No, I
us.
like it.
I almost heard the hooves clicking. Oh no!
They put out these bangers, but
Oh,
yeah.
Good club.
yeah.
Riskit, you got them sugar cubes on deck?
I got
my-
those carrots.
Here, buddy.
Yeah.
Come here, buddy.
Yeah. But you know, my thing is, it's like I expect
your
nothing
baby
but
carrots?
greatness. That's right. I expect nothing but greatness when it comes to Playground. So whatever engine they use, I know what they're going to give us is going to be quality. I just wonder, like,
Okay.
I
now
look
back
at it
to your-
and-
back to your stable. Back
yeah.
to your-
Wait a minute. You say that for me, but did you all didn't see Saltiest Gaming inside the chat?
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to Saltiest Gaming. How you doing?
Listen, I can smell the manure a mile away.
Oh.
Manure, I thought that was urine.
Oh,
Oh.
Go on now. Everyone's welcome in the Xbox Infinite chat. G'day, Saltiest. Shout
Hey,
out to
get 'em,
you.
chat.
Welcome
Yep.
everybody.
get him, chat.
Yeah, attack.
Yeah, look,
Yeah, like,
Riskit.
Toxic.
but as far as Playground, like I expect it to be great. So Pete, I do agree with you there. No matter which engine they use, I expect it to be great. I just wonder, at least just thoughts, at least would Unreal Engine 5 have been a better choice, based on the time it's been to development to develop it rather, and that the fact that we haven't seen anything yet. And I do get the point that you point out that like the first impression is everything. So I get it. And you had people like Matt Booty came out and said he was like, man, I wanted to show it now, and they turned him down and said no. So clearly they have a very high value of how they see how they want their games presented, and I respect it. I think either way it goes, it's going to be a great game. So I'm not being doom about it or whatever, doom and glooming it. I think it'll be great regardless.
yeah, look,
They're like Rockstar in that sense. You see it when you see it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And look, I have to say, I agree with Everborn Saga. What he said earlier in the week, like there is zero reason to doubt Playground. They've given us zero reason to doubt that they can do this. Like everything they have put out has been quality from day one. There's no reason to doubt Playground Games. So
Yeah, and
look,
just like Ninja Theory, Playground have basically come out and said they want to be the best. They want to be the Sony Santa Monicas of, you know, the Xbox team. And look, everything that they've shown us leads me to believe that they can really be that.
Look, I did find this quote, and Bob, I want to get your opinion on this, and I'm going to go to you after this quote. I did find the quote. This is exactly what Jez said. He said, "I've been told internal politics over engine use has also led to developmental problems in games like Fable, Halo Infinite, as Microsoft sought to use its own tools rather than fully featured industry standards like Unreal Engines, which further exacerbates problems around training contractors, only to lose them mid-project." That was as explanation to what he was saying when he said he had heard that they had been directed to use that. I don't see Microsoft aren't really known these days for giving directives to their studios to do or don't do. I mean, they're not even directed to put out games, for God's sakes. I just don't. I can't believe that Microsoft would do that. I think they would support their studio in whatever they wanted to do. KY Bob. Listen, I want to go back a little bit, KY Bob, to like the original Question: are you excited for Fable? Do you want to see them stick to the same sort of humor, same sort of graphics? Do you want to see them push it forward? What do you think they could do with this new Fable to bring it into 2022 and give us something fresh, new, and something that brings the genre forward?
Okay. I want to ask the panel: is KY Bob in a safe place right now?
Yeah, you're in a safe place.
I don't know, bro.
We're going to put you in a stable and feed you sugar cubes.
Okay, so I have only played Fable for a few minutes.
Oh, dude.
You're not safe.
I knew it. I knew it.
Damn, bro.
You're not safe.
He was a centaur.
You
He's a
have to
centaur.
understand. You have to understand. Okay, I played the hell out of Morrowind, the hell out of Oblivion. I think I've done everything that was possible in Oblivion when it came to Xbox. Skyrim. I was in the days of Halo, Gears of War. I lived those games, and it was never anything against Fable. I just never got around to it. But I can say that because of the photogrammetry that we have been blessed with in Forza Horizon 5, if you were to take that scenery and replace all the landscape that image, that rendered image of that car is taking up, and just replace it with a small character, but give him the same level of detail, you could do so much as far as an RPG. I've got full faith that the Forza tech is good. Playground has this. They've got it.
I mean, that's what I'm kind of saying as well, Bob. Like, but a lot of people are talking about graphics, but when you talk about the Forza Tech engine, and if anyone's, and I recommend you do, if you haven't, watch some of these dev diaries on the Forza Motorsport, and this is what spins me out that people are like, well, they haven't even seen Forza Motorsport. They dev diaries like almost every fucking month. Like, they talk about the AI and they talk about the physics of the game and what they can do with the physics of the game with Forza Tech in Forza Motorsport, and that can be transferred across to Fable and really bring the game forward. So I think that's the really exciting part of them using this engine.
And so
Yeah,
I also
one
wanted
thing
to
I wanted
touch
to point
on.
out. Sorry, Kay, you go, bro.
Riskit brought up Microsoft wanting to use more in-house engines than really, I guess, depending so much on Unreal Engine 5 from Epic. Using in-house engines isn't an issue, okay? But when you look at an engine like Slipspace, they went so far outside the box that to even change that game from one engine to another, you're looking at 9 months to a year. They went so far outside the normal line of code. You don't have to do that. You could take a little bit from this engine, a little bit from this engine, as long as it's in the right language. You don't have to reinvent the wheel to say that it's yours. You just have to do something sensible so that it doesn't cause problems down the line. And they didn't do that.
That's a big problem. That's the problem with Slipspace, but it's just so convoluted now, and there's code written over code that you change something in the game, which causes problems down the line that you just didn't foresee, and that's the big problem I have with Slipspace engine. I think that Forza Tech engine is a much better engine than Slipspace engine. So, that being said, I think Mark from Legendary Drops and Mr. Inferno Games both pointed out that character models are a bit of a problem with the Forza Tech engine, and it's yet to be determined whether or not they can pull it off. The character models in Forza aren't the best, and they're rarely going to...
Oop, he's gone. Good work, Saltius, because I was literally about to disagree with him.
Right.
So,
I think the character models in Forza have actually improved since it first got released. So
Right.
I've got
And
big love.
Cutie,
furthermore, those models, the cars are the focus of the game.
Exactly.
Obviously, yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say.
No,
the cars are the focus of the game. That's what they focus on making look amazing, and the world. That I don't think they put a lot of time into character models. Character models aren't a concern. I think whatever they put the time on, whatever the focus of the game is, that's what is going to look good. Cutie, sorry.
No, but what I was going to say is when I noticed this, particularly when they released the Donut series and inside the game, all those quests, I noticed those character models were significantly superior than the ones in, out in the crowd when you're driving around. So yeah, I think it's a positive, and I have faith that they will do this game justice. It's funny, it's beloved, it's quirky. We've seen lots of quirky games come out recently. Tiny Tina's Wonderland, and obviously High on Life, and yeah, I think it's going to be really good. I'm really excited.
Yeah,
just
and
get it out. Just get.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want it to come out. I want a date.
We just have to be patient, I think, with this game, and I'm willing to give them all the time that they need. If this game takes 7 years, like I kind of think it might, then I'm fine with that. Do that. But bring me a Fable that's a worthy successor of Fable. Don't bring me something that you think. This is the one thing I'm concerned about. And then, look, we will have to move on. I'm worried about whether they try to pander to the currency, the current feelings, the current way that people react to things. That's what I'm worried about. What I want them to do is do an outlandish humor, like they did, like you were saying earlier on, J-Rock. Like they did some things that were funny as shit, but probably wouldn't really fly that well in today's society. I want them to ignore today's society and bring us a Fable that has all that AI stuff, has all that graphics, but also has the humor as well, and has everything that Fable is and was. I don't want them to water it down. If they water it down,
I don't want them to water it down. For me, I'm wondering though, Risk, if that's the case. Like, I don't want them to be overly funny either. I want it to have humor, but I don't want it to be some funny. I don't want it to be the MCU of RPGs, if that makes sense. I want it to be more heavy on actual story and everything else that has weight to it. I do want humor a part of it. I don't want it to be the main focus point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but it was. That's the thing.
I think Fable the story has always been like a MCU story. It was never like a serious tone to it.
At points it was. Like if you play it and like they had humorous parts, but it's typically a line for when you're inside of a town or something, right? Or whatever it may be. But when you're out and about killing the wolvers and all that, it's a serious tone to it. Even the whole fact of the sister and brother situation, like all of that was like serious. I don't want them to try to be too funny.
I don't
have humor.
I don't want the dumbass sort of Forspoken trying to crack jokes while I'm in combat. If that's
exactly, Risk. That's my worry.
It won't be like that. It's British humor. It'll be great.
British humor sucks. No, I'm sorry. Anyway.
hey, now we took their show to Office now.
Let me stop. No, but Risk, we had a bunch of questions that actually centered around Fable too. If you wanted to get to them, since we're on this topic, may as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try. I'll get through the questions as I move into the next topic. Before I do, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Moving on to the next topic. Before I do, I'll do the questions. Gerald Mack dropped $10 super chat. He says, shout out to Xbox Infinite Podcast. Salute to Riskit for the biscuit. And he ignored everyone else, strangely. I don't know why. Thank you, Gerald Mack. No, he also said Umbra Infinite and panel. 2023 Xbox World Order. XWO.
What the hell is that?
X World Order.
Mark from Legendary Drops, he said, do you agree Obsidian will make 37 games before Fable comes out? Mark, stop it. AJH, question. Why has no one considered that Fable may implement Forza Horizon's multiplayer with random encounters with other players in the world? That'd be cool, and there's been a lot talked about that. Co-op, what kind of multiplayer they could do. I don't want to get back on the topic again. I want to move through the next topic, otherwise we'll be here until 2024. But
as far as Obsidian, though, for Mark's question, I think Obsidian probably will get a game out before. Funny enough, they will. Like Avowed will probably obviously hit before Fable, right? So he's not too far off. They're a workhorse,
and they can't hit at the same time. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's cool. Fable take another year, take another two. We're gonna have Avowed like this. It's fine. Grey Monad, I do want Fable. It's my top of the list. Grey Monad said, how does everyone feel about the next Gears of War game being a card game? Fuck that. Moving on. I think everyone feels the same. Everyone feels the same. Mark,
What was the question?
he said, how does everyone feel
No.
about the next Gears of War game being a card game?
Oh hell no!
They've just announced a card game for Gears of
Yeah.
War.
We
Yeah.
saw that nonsense.
Oh my God.
I don't want to call it nonsense, but we saw that.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, this is not what we meant, Xbox, when we said we want games. This is not it. They're like, hey,
You
it's a
said you wanted
card
another
game.
It's in the cards.
Oh my God.
Hey, Risk,
Yeah.
I think it was a question before earlier too. I think you might have missed. Let me see if I can find it. Go
Absolutely.
Ahead, keep going, though.
While you do have a look for it, Mark from Legendary drops again. He says, question, why wouldn't Booty ask the Coalition, why wouldn't Booty ask the Coalition, which is one of the best studios in the world, with working with Unreal to help? I think he's relating that to Fable. I think the Coalition's in full swing on a game at the moment. I think they're in full pre-production, to be honest. If not at the back end, if they're making a Gears 6, I think they're in full pre-production. If that small little project wasn't that CGI stuff that we saw, I think they're finishing off that little project that they had, that little game. I hope it's a game. I would like to see a different IP from Gears, and a little project would be awesome. Not a fucking card game. Big Mad Mo. Question, how can you degrade someone's talent when they haven't shown you anything yet? They have never dropped anything but quality. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's no reason to doubt them. There's no reason to doubt them. Yeah, Harry Balzac, pre-production. I think if they're working on Gears 6, they're in pre-production. And pre-production doesn't take like 4 days. You know, you're looking at maybe a year, possibly 2 for pre-production. So, yeah, I think that's where they're at. I mean, if they're not, that's great. The Coalition are a talented team and they're pretty quick. See, Steph, do you see Fable being M-rated or get the teen rating to bring it to new audiences like Halo? I hope it's M-rated. That's what it was.
It's definitely going to be teen. I'm almost certain of that. To
Mm,
me,
I
it feels
agree.
like I feel like Microsoft is kind of going that way. If you kind of look
Yep.
at a lot of this stuff, yeah, it
That's
feels
what
like
I'm saying. That's my only
yeah.
concern.
yeah,
I,
Disneyfication in a way.
I got my knees on the table. You put your knees on the table, and I'm saying it's going to be an M-rated.
I hope so.
As long as
I
you're
hope-
wearing
hope
fishnets,
so.
Riskin.
Still haven't done it. Still haven't done it. How does everyone?
I know you haven't.
How does everyone? If I got ugly feet, how does everyone feel about Microsoft experimenting with an ad-filled Game Pass subscription tier? Now this kind of came up again. We did talk about this earlier last year. Seems like it's something that's that's probably very likely to happen. It does come by way of Reset Era. I think they're associated with Special Nick, and we know how his predictions go. But sorry, Nick, we love you. Collingwood sucks though. Look,
I was going to say, he is a Collingwood supporter, so,
Yeah.
obviously doesn't know what he's talking about.
but he has more teeth than most Collingwood supporters, so that's a win.
He does. He does.
It's crazy. I think he's got 2 teeth, so it's nuts.
It's 2 more than most of them.
Just a question for us Americans. What is Collingwood?
It's a team in the Australian Football League.
Scum of the earth.
Yeah.
Actually,
You mean soccer?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
It's
No,
not-
not soccer. No.
We don't
Actual
play
football.
We don't play little girly
Soccer.
games. No,
Right? That's good.
it's not soccer at all. No.
You all just going to try to steal America's football title. You know, that's
Guys,
right, go ahead.
you can't call it
the
football
game where
when
you don't use your feet.
Yeah,
It's called
you,
football.
like, throw it.
We
Yeah,
kick
okay,
it. No,
I got
we
it.
kick
Yeah.
footballs too. We kick
Yeah.
field
Okay,
goals.
Yeah.
twice a
Random
game.
punt it off.
Twice a game. They're like, that's enough. That'll do. We've
Yeah.
kicked it twice. It's now football.
Hey,
We
it's
threw it.
implemented into it.
We threw it 42
there's
times.
Kickoff, punch, field goal.
Exactly.
Look, you boys can chase balls all day long, and that's your business.
Oh,
Oh, I'm leaving that one alone.
moving on. Moving on.
Oh, yeah.
Moving right along. Look,
Okay, why are you so silent?
What's up?
Oh,
He's out there
all right,
chasing.
all right, all right. Wait, hit too close to homicide? Talking about these balls?
yeah, KY Bob asked the question in the chat. You can just ask it here, dude. But he said, can we remember any studio that has stepped out of a normal genre like Playground? Yes, Guerrilla Games. And I think it was
Absolutely,
Panda who
Guerrilla.
mentioned it earlier in the chat. So as boring as batshit as I think that game is, aside from Horizon Forbidden West, it has been successful. So that game was successful. I think they did a pretty good job for first timers. But
it hasn't been canceled, so of course,
yeah,
it's a success for them.
I'm pretty
Hasn't
sure
won any
Boba
awards or
pointed
anything,
out
but
that,
no.
you know,
Fable was rated R in Australia. I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, it was that's the humor with Fable was like crazy. They took it like next level, and that's what I want them to do. Keep it there, man. Keep it there with
But
it.
I don't think the humor would raise it to M rating though, or adult or whatever.
I
some
think
of
you
the
should
things
go
they
back
do in
and
that game.
play Fable again, man. It's like some
Right. It was
pretty
crazy.
lowbrow toilet humor, dude. Like it was wicked.
I don't think that's what would do it though. Like typically that will take it to a PG-13. Something like that rating would have to be nudity and such. And I know it had, obviously you can have sex, have kids, whatever. So to make that's probably what did it. That and the violence. I don't think the cursing did it.
The sexual content, the violence.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what likely did
definitely.
it, not the profanity.
Yeah, I mean,
it was definitely the STDs that would have put them over the edge. I'm thinking.
Yeah, something like that makes more sense. Because
Yeah.
the profanity wouldn't have done it.
yeah, I mean, like, I don't know why STDs would. I mean, I get what you're saying. It probably did. But I mean, like, we don't want kids to know about STDs, or what's the? They probably should know about that shit before they get out in the world. It's a problem. I know.
Yeah.
Trust me. I mean,
Well, I
scratch.
don't know. Are ratings fixed, or do they update?
No, they do
Well,
update them, but they
once
haven't.
it's rated.
Yeah, they haven't updated them.
Once it's I haven't seen any rating turn around.
Yeah,
I can't recall either any.
Oh, you mean once a game is rated, or once an IP is rated?
Yeah.
Or what
Yeah.
ratings? So what ratings are given for? So they update what they will rate a game or a movie for, like on occasion. I think the last update for the ratings was like 1990s for Australia. But once something is rated, it's locked in. That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So all these.
Yeah. So potentially, it's just when it did get released, how it
Oh, she just spotted out.
the content is.
She has become a true expert.
I'm not.
how?
Yeah.
Mission complete.
Let's get back.
right.
Let's get back to the complete.
Assimilation.
Complete. Mission complete. Look, getting back to the topic, because we went way off on a tangent there. Microsoft's experimenting with ad-filled Game Pass. I'm not mad at this at all. I think if you want to offer people a cheaper option to get into it, do it. Like if they want ads, like no worries. If they don't want ads, then they'll get the tier. As long as you don't come in and go, from now on, the ad-filled tier is $15. But the next tier up's $30. If they do that shit, it's different. So I think it's all about delivery. Look, KY Bob, how do you feel about filling your Game Pass with Pepsi ads?
So they do it on the dashboard right now already. And
Yeah.
I mean, I glance at it, it doesn't bother me, and I move on. As long as it isn't a constant reminder while I'm playing the game using Game Pass, I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue with it, unless before I start up a Game Pass game, you make me watch some ad like you have to do on YouTube before I can play the game. Then I have an issue. Other than that, though, if it's something I can just look past, and if it's something that reaches out to somebody and they're interested in that sort of thing, but I don't have to deal with it if I don't want to, then I'm fine with it. Just don't break my experience. That's all I ask.
Now that makes a lot of sense. It is the delivery, not just of how they charge it, but how they place it within the ecosystem itself. DoomCutie, are you a big fan of ads in gaming?
Look, I'm a fan of ads in general. Like Twitch, I know we're moving to a different topic, but Twitch implemented more ads or gave people options to implement more ads so that they can generate more funds,
Income.
obviously for themselves. But I don't have an issue with that because it's not coming out of my pocket. It's just my time. So I would say I would feel the exact same way about implementing ads into Game Pass. That obviously, they can't put an ad in the middle of a live game. Like you're not going to see this like while you're online playing a game in a multiplayer game. So I don't think it's really going to affect anyone's experience on Xbox.
Yeah, I certainly hope that that is the case because, like we said, it is the implementation.
But I will say, while playing, and this is actually interesting. I'd never considered this before, but when I was playing High on Life, you could put ads inside games, as in what's playing on the television, or product placement within the world. So, are we going to that's something that we may see more often?
Well, yeah, they have said that they're going to do that, and I don't have a problem with that. And that's something that has been going on and hasn't really been leveraged hard. Forza Motorsport did it, I think, a lot with or a little bit with Mountain Dew and stuff like that. But I think this is more geared towards, like whenever you boot up Game Pass, there might be an ad or something. J-Rock, is it something that, I mean, I'm pretty sure all of us here will just be buying the tier that has no ads, but does it bother you that they're thinking about throwing ads into the mix?
No, it doesn't bother me because I won't be using that tier. But
Well, yeah, that's it.
right.
That's same,
So for other people that won't be, I guess it's an option, and options aren't a bad thing. Like KY said, even the dashboard now is so cluttered that I don't even pay attention to 90% of the things there. I just launch my games or check the messages or check if one of you guys are online or what we're doing. That's pretty much it. I don't really pay attention. It doesn't really bother me.
But do you think this will fail then? Because people will just be like, oh, well, I will pay the money to not see the ads, and then obviously, people who do have their ads up there, they're going to be like, well, hey, hang on, my ad isn't being seen because 90% of people don't actually participate in that tier.
Right. I don't know if it's gonna fail or succeed. But overall, I just think an option is good. It's just another option, another way to access Game Pass, I suppose. There's nothing wrong with that. We'll see what happens though. But as for me, I don't really care. I'm not gonna be on that tier, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, well, look in the chat there. Red Dead Panda, who's usually wrong, and just has been on almost every single take she's ever had. She said, "I say no to ads." Pete, what do you think about Panda's take on ads? Do you think even if it's not affecting you, someone else is using it in the tier, does it feel like a dirty tactic?
It depends on how they're implemented, and I do think you're right, Risk. When you boot up Game Pass, especially if you're going to do it on your Samsung TV or something like that, you'll get an ad. I think options are cool. I have a bit of a problem when it comes to what DoomCutie said and them having them in games. I don't want that at all. I just think that's a very, very slippery slope. So if you're putting a billboard in a game, and what happens with games like God of War, where a billboard is just not going to be appropriate at all because that's not, or any fantasy
no, obviously
RPG
not.
or anything like that. Yeah, like I just think it's a slippery slope, and once you open up that, the floodgates might happen, and then people might start making games just to implement ads into them. So that point of it, I just really like to stay away from it. If it's an ad before you load up Game Pass, I'm fine with that as long as it doesn't interfere with my gaming experience. I'm cool.
Absolutely, but you likely won't get the tier, right? Like you'll be getting the Game Pass tier that doesn't have ads. I think we'll probably be like that, right? But so if from the perspective of everyone else
are
getting
they going to lower the price? Like, are they going to lower that price? Like, I'm not sure how it's done I think HBO Max in America has a tier where there's ads actually involved, and I don't live in America, so I'm not sure how it works. Did they lower the price for that, or are they going to make the tier we're on now have ads and then going to make us pay more if we don't want ads? So
no, it's a new tier.
It does go deeper.
Yeah,
I think it's a brand new tier.
Yeah, well, we don't know. That's the thing. It's just a rumor at the moment. Umbra, I mean, would you?
Yeah, like all the rumors point to a new tier.
Yeah, Umbra, would you feel that it's a dirty tactic if, for instance, they gave us a Game Pass tier, cheaper price, and it's just as an option? Would you feel that that's a dirty tactic just for them to accrue more revenue? Or, for instance, would you feel it's a dirty tactic if they boosted the price of Game Pass, like I think that they will this year? And then gave us, the $10 tier is the ad tier. I think it's all in delivery. What do you think?
If it was the latter that you just mentioned, absolutely, that would feel dirty to me, and I would absolutely complain about it. that right there is a sucky move at that point to me. And I think with the advent of Game Pass and how valuable it is for us, I don't think you need to do that. I think being straightforward with us and having a fair practice would bring more people towards you than trying to be slick. And I don't think Microsoft needs to go that route. They're over 30 million as far as subs at this point. They have to be. From the last report we saw from PlayStation, somehow they had 29. But so it's like, why do you have to do that? I think that an ad tier that's more affordable will absolutely bring more people in, so subs will go up. So to me, to try to do that, what you said as far as making the current tier, the ad tier, would just be dirty. It would feel dirty. And I'll just say this. If we're saying that, you already know the press is going to chew them up and spit them out for that. You know what I mean?
Bro, I wonder how selective they're gonna be with what they allow to be advertised, right? And who can advertise on. You imagine you boot up your Game Pass and here comes Jim Ryan. Hey guys, you want to play your subscription games without ads? Jump over to PlayStation.
Well, coming in like Suge Knight.
Pornhub will be all over PlayStation.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's all how they do the advertising such as well. Like we talked about this before. If it's something that makes sense in a game, like billboards or something, right? Yeah, nobody's going to complain about that. But if I'm starting the game up and I see an ad from McDonald's, in the menu, I'm going to be like, what is this nonsense?
I know you're hungry.
Right. Have you had your break today?
Have you had your McGriddle before this session?
That don't look like no McDonald's.
Ads promoting like drinking water and fitness and all that stuff. That
I hear you coughing in the mic. You might want to get a Red Bull.
You might need you some Robitussin.
That's not okay. That's not.
Yeah, but I mean, like Boba Fett pointed out a pretty good point in the chat there. I do
see
want
your KD is down. You might want to get an elite controller.
He said the monster product placement in Death Stranding was the highlight of that game. Look, and it probably was the highlight of the game, but it makes it's kind of a good point. That product placement was heavily inserted into the game. I don't think it hurt the game though, Pete. Like from your standpoint, when it is a slippery slope, it's absolutely a slippery slope.
High on Life had a whole film in it.
Yeah.
Also had
a whole movie,
by the way.
Right. So if it's like that, is cool. It adds to the humor of the
Agreed. If it's built into it to where it adds to it. Yeah, it was.
That was very specific.
Damn, Pete.
I think it
come on, man. We trying come around, Pete. Come on.
I think it's a slippery slope.
Yeah. Really
every
time you say something, here come Pete. Yeah.
Jedi Knight Pony. That's what it is.
Sith Lord Pete. That's why I keep calling him Sith Lord
Pete.
He
got wings on his little logo. Now I see it. It looked like a unicorn.
Yeah.
The reason why people are seeing it as a little bit of a positive, I guess, because it breaks that fourth wall. It sort of sucks you into the game, or it brings like the real world into the game for you. So some people might be like, "Oh, that's cool." Like,
I agree with that.
To feel like
it depends on how it's used, right? Like, I think that's the fairest point.
It's got. Look,
come on,
we're not
Pete,
gonna
think out the box. Think out the box.
It's all implementation.
It has to be relevant.
Yeah, it's all implementation. I think it's how they do it. But look, I don't want to sit on this for too long. I just want to get everyone's kind of thoughts on where they.
So you want to stand on it?
Where they thought everyone was sitting with this. I'll move on to the next question, the next topic. Before I do, Steph, is it possible for Xbox PlayStation to follow what YouTube is rumored to do and lock 4K gaming behind a tier and ray tracing along with it? If they do that,
hell no.
No one's going to take that shit. No one's doing that. Like, we'll kick up. We're not ponies. We won't just take it on the chin and be like,
Jim Ryan.
Great move.
That's some Jim Ryan tactic right there.
Great move, Xbox. Well done. Look, before we do, hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Hit the like button. This one I've been waiting for all podcast. I can't wait for this. Now, Starfield is coming in the first half of 2023, just like I said it would. Listen.
But is it exclusive though?
Is it AAA? Who knows? Look, I have been maintaining that Xbox cannot release this in the back half. There's one way that they could get away with doing this in the back half. There's only one way. And at this point, I'm happy to offer my knees to Pete Umbra, but currently I have Pete Number's knees on the table, and I put a poll in the chat
Whoa.
to whether you
Whoa.
think
Whoa, buddy. Whoa, buddy.
Pause. Elaborate really quick so they can understand this.
let me elaborate. Right now,
Yes,
see,
please.
the contention of the panel is that there needs to be a solid release date, and or even beyond that, the game needs to have released in the first half of the year for me to acquire knees. I can understand that. I really don't think it's true, but if they want to squirm out of handing their knees over, that's fine. They can do that.
It's crazy.
But look, Starfield has come out, released a website, and on the website it says Starfield arrives exclusively on Xbox Series X, S, and PC in the first half of 2023. They've never lied to us before, so I don't see any reason not to believe this. There's never been a delay. Look, I can understand what these guys are saying, but I'm going to put a poll in the chat. After they've released this, they've already had a delay. Should I be collecting these now, or should we be waiting for the release of the game? Hit us up in chat and tell us if we wait for the release of the game or if we wait for an announcement date. I'm just going to put, should I be collecting?
There's a 50 Shades of Grey segment.
And
or should we be collecting yours? See, this is the thing, by the way. Let me add context to this, because Riskit will always kind of dress it up in his own little Aussie way. Let me fix this up for you guys.
Clarify on all
Dress
that.
it up.
Yeah, because he's stupid. Yeah, let's do duplicity.
On all of that.
Exactly, because these Aussies try to claim football and stuff, and now they want to, So listen,
Claiming football. Who said that?
enough of your deception, cutie. Enough.
They play
Football,
rugby with an egg.
Exactly. No, but seriously, my thing is this, and this is where me and Peter are at it with it. Right now, we did state that we think it would release in the second half. So the contention is we haven't heard any specifics. Now, you do have Bethesda that came out on their site pointing out that it would release before June, right? Or not before June. They said the first half, right, of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, what is determined as the first half? Because if it releases in June,
the man's going to semantics. Here we go. Yeah.
I'm just being real, because June, if it's in June, like let's say June 16th, 18th, or something like that, right? That's technically not the first half of the year. That's mid-year at the best. And even if that's the case too, that's quarter two, literally. That's not the first half of the year.
No, quarter two is the first half of the year. Quarter one's the first quarter. Quarter two's the first
3 quarters.
Second quarter.
It's only 3 quarters, you see?
No, there's 4 quarters. That's why it's a
No, it's
quarter.
3.
Quarters in
Microsoft
a
has
hole.
3.
Now you have $1.
Microsoft has 3 quarters. No, Microsoft operates under 3 quarters risk. So that's why I say, like, is that technically? Yeah, check it out. They look it up. They operate on 3 quarters. So my thing is that technically even the first half? That's more mid, if anything, I would imagine.
Well, that would make it halfway through the second quarter. This is so strange.
Exactly. So that's about midway through.
middle.
Am I correct? Yeah, it's about midway through.
No, so Microsoft operates. It'd be weird to call it a quarter, but that operates under 4 quarters. I just looked it up. Earnings release.
No, they don't. They operate under 3 quarters. I know that for a fact.
That makes no sense. But anyway, I think, look, it comes down to it needs to release. I think the Xbox showcase was June 6th. If it releases any time after June 6th, I want knees. That's all I'm saying.
I want everyone to look at their screen right now. Damn it. That didn't work out how I wanted it to.
Yeah, the screen never lies.
God damn it.
All I'm seeing is bad driving.
No.
What is that?
Let me fix this.
That's OBS.
Oh.
Let me fix this. OBS being stupid.
Be careful. You might have typed this up beforehand knowing that I was going to make this point.
That's not it. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
That's not it
The
either.
deception is coming apart.
Why is it breaking?
He created that.
What the hell?
It's broken. Damn it.
You know.
Hang on a minute.
Xbox God protects his children.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
The Xbox. Let me fix this. Here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? It's still broken. You ready?
That's right.
You ready?
And moving on.
Watch your screen. Ha ha ha.
It's still messed up.
Earnings. Q4. F fiscal year 2022 Q4. Ha ha!
Was that was your proof?
Yeah, he's 4 quarters.
What is that, man? You work for the FTC?
That's investment earnings.
Now we know who wrote those paperwork.
But so then how? What? They can't be. Anyway, all right, cool. Look, there's 4 quarters in a hole. It's what it is.
There's $4 on the dollar too. Let's move on.
Yeah, cool.
I think they're financial.
Yeah, look. Here's my thing. The only way that they could come out in the back end of the year, and I'll still hand over my knees for this, and I think it's the only way optically that they could do it, and it still be okay. Because you cannot delay a game in 2023 once it's already been delayed in 2022, and you've given us fuck all, right? So the only way they can do it, they have E3, they give a release date, no more than a month after E3, they release Starfield. If they do that, they build hype at E3, everyone forgives them because they're like, yeah, it's only a month out. No one will complain about that. That's the only way I can see them releasing Starfield in the back half of the year. This talk I hear about people say, it might release in November. It's one, don't say that shit because then they're going to start hearing it and thinking it's cool, and it's not cool. And two, that's fucking ridiculous. Like, they can't do that. Like, people would just lose their mind. So let's get everyone's prediction. KY Bob, do you think that and I'll be coming for knees, I'm just letting you know. Do you think that Starfield's going to be releasing in the back half of the year, or do you think it'll be in the first half, as promised on their website?
First half. We're talking about Bethesda already has a support page up for the testers that are testing it.
Yep.
And some of the testers have even come out and said that they're thoroughly pleased. They're impressed. So, other than bug fixing and maybe a touch of polish, I think it's ready to go. I mean, it's just the P's and Q's, dotting the I's, crossing the T's at this point. Let's do it. I want to see Starfield Shadow Drop E3. Phil Spencer on the stage saying, Game Pass subscribers, download it now.
It's available right now. That's not how Phil Spencer
Right
does.
now.
Sorry. Yeah, I think so. Cutie, what do you think?
Yeah, I think first half. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this shadow dropping at E3, but I think it'll be around that time.
Copy that.
I don't think Phil is as dramatic as you might like him to be. KY.
He would probably say it a little more boring, like, if you all are interested right now on devices where Game Pass is present, you can experience Starfield.
J-Rock,
He's taking notes. He's taking notes now. Phil, he's listening to you. And
he has a very distinct way of talking. Starfield, right now, we hear you. J-Rock.
We hear you.
J-Rock, do you think it's coming out first or second? I can't do Phil Spencer, but that's sort of how
Is Red Panda in the chat? So whatever she says, she predicts. I'm going the opposite because we know how she is with predictions.
yeah. Loving it.
No, but I agree. I agree with most of the panel here. I think it's going to be the first half.
Yeah. Pete, are we still sticking to? I mean, you can't take this shit back. So I'm just saying, Jedi.
Yeah, look, I still don't think it's going to come out. So, and my reasoning is Redfall was targeting March. Now, if they could have got Redfall out in March, then I think that it would have been first half of the year. But because Redfall's been pushed back till May, then what? Are you going to go up against that? No, you're going to give that breathing room. So what? Then you've got June. If the acquisition goes through in June, before June, then you're going up against Diablo. And I think that they just need to space out their games. I really, really do. So I don't think that they're ready to bring it out in April. I just don't. And so if all that comes together, all that, goes away, I think it's going to go. I think that they're going to push it back, even if it is ready. Now, I think the last, they put the website up, all that's, they did say that it's going to be in the first half. I get all of that. We know that they're bug fixing at the moment. It's in its final build. It's completely playable, but we all know how Bethesda games are. They can bug fix for a year and still not get rid of all of them. So, that's my reasoning.
Okay.
Yeah, to add to that, and good reasoning, by the way, my fellow I guess knee on the line person. My fellow knee patron. No, that's weird.
Both
That's
the
happening.
centaurs over here.
My thinking is like much in line with what yours is, Pete. And on top of that, people, because somebody mentioned, well, they said already on the site that it would be releasing. Yeah, they also said it would release last year too. So that doesn't mean anything. You know, that's not a guarantee that that will happen. They actually literally said they had it written in ink at one point. So that doesn't mean anything. Some people have also pointed out that they believe it'll release before Starfield. I don't know if I believe that.
Before Redfall. Before Redfall, you mean?
Excuse me, Redfall, my bad. Yeah, so that's what I'm wondering. If it could, it'd be something. I see Vic already mentioned it. 3/23/23. That's the most popular theory right there. I don't know if that'll be the case, but we'll see. It'd be dope if it did. Yeah, I mean, if it released in that date, you absolutely got us beat right there, Risk. There's no
hang on a minute
about it.
There's not 23 months in the year. What the hell's going on with that date?
Oh,
Lord. You'll do it backwards.
Oh Lord!
Yeah, you go
Aussie, UK.
You go little. You go medium, little, big, because that makes sense instead of going little, medium, big. That's cool. That's cool. You know, you're all weird. We get it.
America backwards.
Yeah, America has it right.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if it's like, and I looked it up more to look into it, but I don't know how I got to the point of 3/4. I think you're right on that, Risk. It is 4. Obviously, it can't not be that. Looking at the other things, but so my thinking is, if it is at the second half of June, like let's say June 16th, anywhere from 16th on through, that's mid-year. That's not actually first half. So if that is the case, that it releases sometime in June or July.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. We're not segmenting the year into 3 sections here. Come on, we got to have some defined. You just semantic.
I think that's fair, though.
Semantic.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's pretty fair. I think if it's mid-June, that's splitting it. It's not first half technically. That's still in the middle of the year. I agree.
That's what I'm talking to Boba about right now. Yeah.
So that's my thinking. If it's in that split between a month, in the middle of the month or after, toward the end of the month, then that absolutely leans toward our favor.
Listen,
end of the month.
Here's how we're gonna do this, right? So it's 365 days in a year. Can someone in chat? It's so half of 365. Half of 365 is 182 days. 0.5, by the way, and that could be 12 o'clock p.m. So someone in the chat can figure out what the 182nd day of the year is. That after that date, after 12 p.m., I will hand over my knees if it comes out after that. Before that, that's mine. My knees.
No. See,
I agree with Riskit. That's a great
lie.
I mean, this is all semantics, but you're changing it. So my first submission was if it comes 12 months after the Xbox showcase, then you're wrong, Riskit, and I want knees, mate. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Because it didn't fall within that 12-month period that they promised after the Xbox showcase. Anything after that, I'm taking knees.
Okay.
It's the last day of June. The very last day of June, because July 7th is the 188th day. So if you went 6 days back, the last day would literally be the last day of June.
Well, looking it up here for me, Bob, it has 183 days of the year is July 2nd. So 2 more days would have to be July 4th.
Siri is not wrong, sir.
Ask Cortana.
Let's do that math, everybody. In the chat. What is the 185th day of the year?
Siri's like contacted Apple, and she's like, "I'm gonna get him. I've got him." When was the showcase? The showcase was on June the 13th. So if it falls,
July 4th on my end.
Showcase July 4th. Yep, you're right. Yeah. So if it falls after July 4th, that's the back end. That's the back end.
Kneel before me, Bob.
I'm happy to go with that.
Still not right.
Whatever.
It's July 4th. I was right.
Fuck that. I'm going with what I initially said, mate.
July 4th is 185.
Yeah. Riskit said 185 days. That's split between 365, right?
No, he said 182.5.
I did.
You say that?
There's
You didn't
always
say
a
that.
caveat, though, but there is always a caveat.
Yeah, it's the caveat.
Caveat.
But yeah, I'm with Pete. I think me and Pete are aligned. If it's somewhere in the middle or end of June, I don't think you can claim that's the first half of the year.
Yes, you
That's got
can.
to be mid. That's got to be mid-year. I think that's fair to say.
Right. So if the showcase was July, they said in the next 12 months, if it falls anywhere after that 12 months, that has to be the cutoff date. They said the next
What is
12
the
months
stat saying?
on July 4th, right? That's when the showcase was. Is that the contention now? We don't know what day the showcase was on. Jesus, this is tough.
The showcase is in June.
Hey, Chad,
Yeah,
green hearts for Riskit, blue hearts for the Centaurs over there. Jedi Knight and
The showcase was June 14th.
Right.
It can't have been because
my thing, and going with what Bob pointed out, I feel kind of like they will say, hey, they'll announce the actual release date for Starfield at E3. So let's say E3 is July or June, rather 15th or 16th, right? They'll probably say, hey, it'll be releasing this Tuesday or something like that, or Thursday of this week.
So it says, I've got it on YouTube. The date of release was 13th of June 2022. So anything after the 13th is yours. Anything before the 13th, anything before the 13th is mine. All right, but unfortunately, this was all a waste of time because the poll says I get knees.
They're wrong. They're wrong. Yeah, they're wrong.
The poll's obviously wrong.
let's go. Chad, you heard it. Umbra said, "Wait to E3. We can't have that again."
Wait to E3.
Break his knees.
Oh, shit.
Break them off.
Look, we'll move on to the next topic because we've been on this too long, but it was a fun little topic that we started talking about in topics. Look, and it's sort of folded in. Redfall seems to be delayed until May, and I know that's a bit of old news. We weren't live last week, so I did want to talk about it. Do you guys think, and I'll end this poll because it's in a good position, and I think it's very correct. Do you guys...
Of course.
Do you guys think that Redfall has been delayed till May? I tend to believe it. I also do think as well, you got to be careful with this sort of stuff. These are internal delays. So this is a conversation that they probably had around a round table about when they got to be ready for the game. And shit changes, you know. I mean, as we was talking to someone earlier in the week, I forget who I was talking to, but what happens when they're doing this bug hunting, which is probably where they're at. They're probably at a point where they're bug hunting. You might crush a bug that might create 10 more, right? Then you might start going through those 10 bugs. You crush a bug that crushes 20 more. And then you just keep doing that process until you get it to a state where it's playable and those bugs don't exist. So it's back and forth. So it's hard at that point with the Q&As and with the developers. You know, I mean, I think it was God of War had 2,800 and something bugs, I think a month out from release or 2 months out from release. And they managed to squash all those. This is 2018 because we know that Ragnarok was a buggy mess. But like they managed to squash all those bugs and made a playable, pretty decent bug-free game, right? So I think this is to be taken with a grain of salt. However, I do think it came from probably a conversation where they have set a date down as May. So me personally, I do believe it. I don't think it's solid. I think it could change. So I'm happy with that. I think just give us the game when it's ready. DoomCutie, what do you think? Do you think this is a date that's kind of set in stone, or do you think it's just a rumor and something that we should put any stock in?
Look, I do think it's a rumor. But you know, with any of these delays, like I've always said that if a delay happens, sure, like you say, you know, God of War had bugs a month out and things come up and it can be unpredictable. So, but honestly, Redfall isn't a game that I don't know if I'm going to play it, to be honest. So it doesn't really bother me.
You should join in. We got to have a party, everybody. Who wants to join in and force her to play this
Look,
game?
It's probably a game that I could jump into in a party, but lots of people know I don't play horror games. I don't watch horror movies or anything like that. My imagination like holds on to things for a long time. So
I think it's more of
it can be cool.
Action game though, Cutie. I think it's like
I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see
Okay.
I'm waiting to see other people's gameplay and things like that before I jump into it, to be honest.
Copy that. Copy that. J-Rock, what do you think, man? Do you think this delay is on point? Came from an actual conversation from inside the studio? Or do you think it's made up BS?
I think where there's smoke, there's fire. But I don't really mind as long as it comes in the first half of the year, and it hits the ground running. It's justifiable in my eyes.
Mhm.
So I just can't wait to play it.
Yeah.
I saw the new information that came out today about it, and it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think that's with every game. I'm same as you. I can't wait to play it, but I also kind of temper that with like, give us it when it's ready, right?
Mm-hmm. I definitely can't wait to use it on the party nights or jump on with you guys, and we could do some of those missions together.
Absolutely.
One thing that's a bit disappointing about it is that you can only use one person's progression, and whoever's hosting is the progression. I will say that's a bit disappointing, but it doesn't break the game for me. I don't think it'll break my enjoyment. I'll just be running a single player game, and then I'll be running a co-op game. And that's all good. Pete, what do you think? Do you think this is something that came from studio, or do you think it's just another 4chan rumor that we shouldn't even be listening to?
No, this has been confirmed by multiple sources now. The game got pushed back 6 weeks. It was targeting March, and it's been pushed back to May, unfortunately. Which I'm fine with. If you look at Prey and Dishonored 2, they launched in a very, very good state. So I do trust Arcane. And yeah, Jay's right. The news we heard today about the game being like Far Cry 2 and Stalker mixed in with, Arcane's usual type of gameplay just sounds fantastic to me. I also heard a rumor that they're making it kind of like a Destiny game. So everything I've heard of it, I love the sounds of, and it's a co-op game, so it's my jam. I get to jump in with you guys and have fun. I do wish that not only the host progression went forward. I hope they would more do it like Halo did it, where everyone's progression moves forward. But take the good with the bad.
Shout
I'm
out
really
to
looking forward to
343.
this game. Yeah, that's actually one thing that they got absolutely right, Jay. It really, really was, man. The way
Listen,
that they handled the campaign
and
is
I
fantastic.
don't think it's a coincidence that around these rumors, when these rumors started to release, right, that they now just release some information on the game, like, oh, don't worry, guys, it's gonna be fantastic. So if in case we do mention a delay in a few days or weeks, just know that this game is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so honestly, cannot wait till May. Cannot wait to get my hands on the game. I think the character models and the design of the world look beautiful. I'm not completely sold on the gameplay until I get my hands on it, but it does look incredibly fun.
Yeah, it does look incredibly fun. It's something that I'm looking forward to it. I've made no secret of it more than I am Starfield. And I wasn't feeling that way until the showcase. And after that showcase, man, I was fully on board. KY Bob, what do you think? Do you think we're seeing Redfall in May?
Yes, definitely May. It's been confirmed, like Pete said, 6 weeks out from March. Puts us right in May. And yeah, I'm about 50-50 Starfield, Redfall. I'm going to be splitting time probably pretty close to down the middle on those two games. I'm highly anticipating both of them, and will not have a social life once they are released.
Yeah, look, I'm that's my kind of worry with Starfield, is I'm so damn busy. Is that Starfield is a big game, going to require a lot of time, and I just don't know if I have the time. Umbra, are you on board that Redfall's likely to release in May?
Yeah, it seems like all signs seems to point to it, right? And I know I saw Thimber ask in the chat. He said, "Well, how can it be delayed? They never announced a launch date for it." He's technically correct. It's an internal, what's the word, delay? Thimber. That's why they're saying that. And I'm all for it, Risk. I think you mentioned the point earlier, and I'm in line with that as far as take the time for the game. If they need that time, and Arcane knows what they're doing when it comes to making games. If they say they need that time to get this game out right, then take the time you need. That shouldn't be a problem for anybody. And I'm not that much in a rush to get to Redfall anyway, being honest. I mean, we got so many games to play before that. that's not going to be really a big thing. I will say I'm excited for it though. The more I've seen and heard about it, the more I'm actually hyped for it, and that's a stark turnaround for me where I was like, the first time. So now I'm actually very interested in it. But yeah, take the time. Let them release it when
you're
they're gonna
definitely
release it.
sounding like Peter.
Yes.
I don't know, guys.
By the way, is Bushido rapping in the chat? I put my Mac down. Yeah, that's
Right,
where you
there you
lack
go.
at. What's that all about, Bushido?
He's trying to promote his demo disc.
I see. She need her candle lit. Yeah.
Look, I'm going to move on to the next topic because we are pushing for time right now. Before I do, guys, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you are new. Share it out, tell your friends, tell your grandma. I'm very grandma friendly. As we move into the next topic here, which is one that I'm not across. I'll be honest, I'm going to be flat out honest with this one. I am not across the Halo engine change. Apparently, there's some news earlier in the week, but I have not managed to catch up on it. But Pete, you are all across it. So what the hell is going on with Halo and its engine now?
Look, I don't think that there's anything going on. I really don't think there's anything to this as usual. Now, we do have sources that have told us, not so many words, that they're not changing the engine. There is nothing to this. They are sticking with the Slipspace engine. It's as simple as that. Yeah, and we have talked about this on numerous occasions. I really don't think there's anything to this.
Yeah, but what is actually going? So it's come back out again that there's more rumors that they are switching the engines over again. I mean, this was defunct, I think, not long ago. So why is this resurfacing?
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. But, look, I mean, Halo hasn't been in the news, so maybe it has something to do with that. I played Halo the other day. It just doesn't feel right. It really doesn't. I think that game, unfortunately, even with Forge Mode coming out, really, I don't know, even with the content, it just doesn't feel great to me. I'm a little bit of a downer on Halo at the moment, so I don't really know where it came from. I did look into it. Sean W made a video on it. Halo Follower made a video on it. They didn't actually say where the rumor came from, so I honestly don't know. But look, rest assured that they are going to be using Slipspace engine for the entirety of Halo, and the only way we're going to get an engine change if we get a brand new game. And it looks like they're not actually doing that. It looks like Halo Endless is just going to be DLC.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, right. Now that's, I don't know how I feel about it now. I think they should kind of move on to a new game. I think it's kind of, I think they killed it, man. They crushed the shit out of Halo. It sucks. And I understand what you're saying about not feeling great, because when you do play COD, you've been playing a lot of COD, and you come back to Halo, they're not games that you can switch between. Like, you really have to sit on one. Otherwise, they feel way too different. Halo feels slow, floaty, a little, spongy.
Someone said it feels like you're walking around in molasses.
Yeah. So it does feel that way after COD. So, yeah, I mean, I always thought it was a pretty good iteration. I think it's just time to move forward and go with another game. I think they've crushed the shit out of it. J-Rock, what do you think, man? I know you're a big Halo fan. Do you think they should try and just sit with Halo Infinite and try to bring it back, or just let it go, move on to the next game?
No, I think they should do both. Why can't they release some story DLC or map DLC for Halo? They still do it with the Master Chief Collection, right? They still support that. They could still support Infinite and move on.
Yeah. Boba Fett in the chat says Riskit changing mindset. Yeah, mate. Look, I think they broke me, dude. I didn't think they should. I was pretty vocal about it, but I've just kind of had enough. I'm almost to the point where I'm like, yeah, get rid of 343 and bring someone else in. It just killed the game. It was so disappointing. It's just a disappointing release. I don't think they can do what Bungie's done, which is bring it back. And if you look at the history, Bungie didn't do that. And J-Rock, I agree with you. Why can't they do both? Bungie didn't bring back Destiny 1. They couldn't. They kind of starved the life out of that game. They learnt their lessons. They built Destiny 2, and they were pretty good with content. Some people say it took a long time. Yeah, it took 6 months for the first release.
Neither Bungie projects have been their Halo projects either. So
exactly.
keep
The
it
only
above.
thing that can save Halo is certain affinities battle royale, and because it's not done by 343.
Say, like,
So I think,
you could say 343 hasn't lived up to Bungie, but Bungie hasn't lived up to Bungie either.
Yeah.
Destiny's huge, but Jay, look, I know it's not the game that people expected, but it is doing incredibly well 7 years down the track.
Let's not forget how Destiny 2 released though. That was worse than Halo.
And Destiny 1.
Right, that was worse than
Destiny
Halo
1 was
Infinite
terrible.
by a mile.
Yeah, but they have kept it alive 7 years later. There's
You're right.
always people playing back.
Yeah, and I'll say with 2, it took 6 months for them to release content, right? But then they started bringing steady content after that. Halo misstepped at the 6 month mark, and then they misstepped again another 6 months later. And then I think, it's over, it's 2 years now. It's a full year now. They've had a full year. Is it a full year? A year and 2 months they've had to bring content to this game, to bring it back, and they just haven't.
Been a while. It's been a while. Like I'm not giving up on the game or for 343. I think they've made changes in management and such, right? So we're unfortunately at that part where we have to see this part through. They have to see it through. So we're forced to see it through. So I can't judge them yet off the past. I have to see what they,
the new leadership just got there.
exactly. So I have to see what they do for us in season 3 and beyond.
Right.
If season 3 and beyond is trash, then I'll be like, okay, all right. All right,
I
343,
tried to
you
jump
gotta go.
into Jay's Halo game night the other day, and I love Halo game night. It's when I have the most fun playing Halo, and I was stuck on a 280 ping the whole game. So this whole local server nonsense that they said that they were going to bring in to make it more fun for everyone else, it just doesn't work. And that's what's so infuriating to me, because I really want to enjoy the game, especially with all the new content. Some of the forged creations that are out there are absolutely
Spectacular.
phenomenal. They're better
Yeah.
than 343 maps, the dimensional portal.
It's crazy to say, but they are, aren't they? Yeah. I was
They're
going to say though,
absolutely
Pete,
fantastic.
for you though, like if they had it a fix where you were getting a proper ping, would you be much more favorable?
I would be, yeah. I would be
Yeah.
playing it every Halo game night. I would actually be making Halo game nights 100%. But anything over 150 just doesn't work for that game. And I have played on 220, 250 on COD, and it just seems to work better. I don't know what it is. It just
Networking
seems to work
somehow.
better.
Yeah.
Same thing with Fortnite.
Yeah, they got to get it together then. Bushido, I see that talking about I'm a shield, but like, man,
Bushido.
yeah, no, don't listen to him. Nobody. Matter of fact, throw a tomato at him in the chat, everybody. So no, my thing is, like I said, I'm still with them. I feel like we're at that point. Like I said, we just have to see what the new management brings in and what they're going to do for season 3. And to be fair, as long as it has been to get to that point, yeah, I mean, season 3 is actually coming around in what, a month or two?
Yep.
I believe in March, right?
Yep.
So let's give it a little time. I hate to say that. I know people are like, time is all we've given them, but we're at that situation. I mean, they did what we did ask, where we were like, Bunny Ross needs to go. They did that. So how can I be like, all right, well, still F all of you? I can't be like that. I have to say that I'll give them the leeway to correct the issues. And that's just where they're at. Same thing happened with the Master Chief Collection. The same thing is going to have to happen here. And by the way, the same guy, Pierre, was the one who, the architect behind turning it around. Exactly. So let's give him time to fix it. That's what I would say.
Well, thank you for not sounding like Peter and Riskit and Boba Fett down there, because Boba Fett always get into the parts. Yeah, guys, you playing Halo?
Yeah, I know.
I'm over it. I'm like, yeah, I know, Boba.
Yeah, old Debbie Downer. Old Debbie Downer right there.
Yeah, look.
Oh, it's June, Mac? Mac said it's June.
You make some pretty
I thought
good.
it was March for that.
You make some pretty good points, but I mean, you do. You make some good points, but we're talking season 3, a year and 2 months later. That's when we're talking season 3. That should be inside. We should be talking season 4, 5 by now.
Yeah, Mac said June. It's not June, Mac. It's March 7th.
So what? A year and a half later, we're talking season 3. Like,
that is crazy.
That's nuts.
I'm 100% agreed there. Like, it's ridiculous that we've having to get to this point with it. But at this point, like, what are we going to do? Be like, well, damn Halo.
They did make the changes. I just think it's too late. Season 3 has to be like I think Pete's right. Season 3 has to be a battle royale. It has to be a battle royale. There has to be certain affinities mode.
I think we'll get certain
Battle Royale's
things.
not coming until 2024, unfortunately. The main problem I think now with
Halo's
Halo
dead.
is they've introduced aim assist for PC players. No game in the history of first-person shooters has ever had aim assist for PC players. They can shoot you with whatever gun they want from halfway across the map, and it was an accident them implementing it, and they're not taking it out because the PC players they gained traction with PC players, which they didn't have before, and because the player count is so low, they kept it. Things like that are why people hate 343. I mean, it's just a joke.
That's kind of cool
Oh,
though.
you can solve that.
I like how
Get a PC.
I like how fucking PC players. I like how how the 343 are actually implementing their own cheats. I mean, that kind of takes the cheat purveyors out of the market. That's pretty clever.
Yeah. I got faith in it, man. It's like Pete pointed out too. The created maps from fans have been so spectacular, and we always have a ball when we play on our. Yeah, we have a ball when we play our Halo nights and stuff. So I'm still actually content. Actually, I don't have anything like outside of certain small issues. The desync obviously needs to be corrected. That's not necessarily small, to be fair, but that and like you said, Pete, on the BattleNet situation, they got to get that together as far as how the pings are messed up for everybody or for certain people, I guess, depending on server you're on. Getting that together, I think, would be one of the priorities. I think that's going to happen with season 3. I think once they get that out of the way, man, it's still ultimately a very fun game to play. So I don't know. I don't know where I stand at with that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the best way I can put it.
The campaign's incredibly fun. It really, really is. It's really fun to play with friends. When it works, Halo Game Night is some of the best fun I've had in gaming with all you guys. You know, I absolutely love it. It's just great. But it just hasn't been working. In fact, it's gotten worse. Now, I just don't know how they can make it get worse. I think the UI needs to be fixed. It takes forever to get into the UI. I don't even know what's going on with that thing. It's incredibly broken.
Yeah.
The store needs to be fixed. I mean, I don't know who's spending any money in that store. It's a joke. I recently been playing a little bit more Fortnite, and my God, it's just day and night, the difference between the stores in Fortnite. You actually you're trying not to spend too much money in the Fortnite store when you go onto it. Halo, it's very difficult to find something that you want. So I don't know how they're making any money off this game. And if it's not making money, what's their incentive to make it better?
As the old saying goes, Pete, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. But my
but
thing,
that goes back
I think
to
it is making money though, to be fair, by the way.
Yeah, and that goes back to the previous point. Pete, Fortnite took years to get the store to where it's at now too.
Yeah. I do agree on
the
this.
player
Honestly,
count
the
was
UI
always
and
there,
such.
Jay. The player count never died to the point where the player counts died in Halo.
No, I'm not talking about the player count. I'm talking about the store.
I get that, but the
Yeah,
player
yeah.
count was always there for them to be able to have the time to fix the store.
that?
And so,
Chilling
if
for Halo.
you don't have that initial player count, why would you do it? So it's like a snake eating its own tail. We're just going around in a circle.
It's chilling for Halo.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're not chilling. Oh, they are. Yeah.
What is that?
What?
What's Riskit doing back
Yeah,
there?
someone was just saying to me, you guys are shilling for Halo. Look.
Make Halo great again, guys.
It's just a little sad.
You offended Pete. He left again. See what you did?
I'm starting to think that 343 is not Pete's issues with Halo. Pete's internet is Pete's issues with Halo.
Yeah.
Damn. It could be that. It could be.
It could be. It could just be he's terrible at the game. Oh, he's back. Hey, Pete. How you doing?
Yeah, I heard all that. It could be. But at least I'm better than you.
Look, no one is. We're kind of getting on for time. We do have a couple more topics, but I'm probably going to skip over those. There was the PlayStation Showcase. There was nothing there. I just wanted to say, with the PS
Showcase.
Yeah, they had a PSVR. They had a CES, yeah.
Oh.
When they brought up the PSVR 2. I think, again, if you're offering a fucking PSVR 2, this is unbelievable to me. It's the old games don't work on it. What the? Hey, how?
So me as a PlayStation 5 owner, I have to spend $550 additional dollars So enjoy the
Ridiculous.
majority of your titles this year.
Yeah, so
Is that what
it's
you're saying?
in Australia, it's 17 in total. What you would spend is on a game, PSVR, on the console, PSVR 2, and a game is around about $1,700.
Mm.
That's ridiculous.
Jeez.
That's stupid.
Crazy.
Stupidity. And you can't play your old titles. So you can't even cut that down by $70 to save yourself a little bit of money and play your old titles. It's fucking ridiculous. I can't believe that there's I mean, I can believe it. We see it every day. But they're out there on Twitter like, we've got PSVR and Xbox got no games. I'm like, dude, you guys have any brains? Like, this is
97% of the PlayStation 5 owners won't be having a VR set
Exactly.
day one.
Mhm.
So
Speaking of which, by the way, are those games priced at 72?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not
Thank
like
you.
completely full games. So I see exactly where you're going with that. Like, they're not,
Yeah.
you're not getting even a 20-hour experience with most VR games. So, look, I don't
I
want
will give.
he just die again.
Out?
He just-
On PSVR 2, that's very unlike Sony, and I definitely gotta applaud them for that.
What? Applaud them for what you cut out.
Oh, they're giving away Gran Turismo 7 on PSVR 2 if you already own Gran Turismo on the PS5. So
Yeah, it's a free
VR
upgrade if
mode
you
on
already
the
own the
yeah.
game. Yeah.
Yeah. That is very unlike Sony.
That doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Shout
doesn't
out to
really.
But otherwise, there'd be nothing
Hey.
to play on it.
I
shout
they're
out
not-
to the,
like,
shout
if-
out to the
if they're not-
100 people that are actually going to get that.
know, right?
Yeah, listen.
That doesn't really impress me. That's cool. I'm always for companies giving us a little extra more, whatever. But that doesn't impress me particularly because I don't care for GT 1 and I don't care for VR 2. So this doesn't appeal to me in any way.
Much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a $70 price tag would automatically stop me from caring about it too, even if it was a full game. It's like, nope.
Yeah, I mean, they're 45-minute games. Who's paying $70 for a 45-minute game? I just don't understand the pricing behind it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, agreed. And you,
the Gran Turismo movie. What the heck? What?
your machine might melt while you're playing PSVR as well. Especially if you're standing up. Look, Machine Games is hiring as well. I just wanted to point this out, and then we're going to get out of here with some outros. They're hiring, and this is what they're looking for. They're looking for an AI programmer, senior AI programmer, lead environment artist, producer, senior Q&A, senior technical artist, senior level designer, associate producer, Q&A, blah, 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 lighting artist, VFX artist. Okay, so I was looking at all those jobs, and this is my thoughts, and I'll quickly go to the panel, and then we will get out of here because we're pushing the 2.5 hour mark. That says to me you're in full production. So you've gone through pre-production and you're just starting to hit full production. So the point I think to this for me was we're not seeing this game until 2025 earliest. Cutie, do you think we'll see this game before 2025? If not, when do you think we'll see it?
Sorry, what?
Do you think
Sorry, I was reading the chat.
do you think we'll see Indiana Jones before 2025, or do you think we'll see? Or, and if not, when?
I don't think so. I think we'll have a trailer by 2025, but we won't see the game until after that. Definitely not. I really hope they do a really great job. It could be really nice. It's such a beloved franchise, and you think about how Uncharted's gone. I think they could really knock it out of the park.
Absolutely. J-Rock, you think it's going to be landing 2025 or later?
You mean showing something? I think they're going to show something. We're going to know more about the game E3 next year.
Yeah. But do you think it'll land as a game? Like, do you think we're going to get this game in our hands 2025?
No, 2026.
2026. He's calling 2026. Pete, what are you calling?
2026. Yeah. And what's going on with Wolfenstein 3? When are we going to see Wolfenstein 3? I know they're hiring for Indiana Jones, but I would have thought Indiana Jones would have been further along if we haven't seen anything about Wolfenstein 3. So don't know what's quite going on at Machine Games at the moment.
Mm-hmm. It's because Microsoft are forcing them to use their own engine. KY Bob, what do you think? 2025, 2026?
2025. I'm calling it right now.
You the man.
2025.
Yeah, 2025. I'm the same. 2025, I
I
think.
mean, because
Yep.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but
You're
I
right,
mean, if you think about it, so I wasn't paying attention to exactly who it was that said it, but they said that we could get more news about it, maybe even some gameplay or a more solid trailer, something longer than like 15, 20 seconds. At E3. Well, that's 2 years before the E3 in 2025. So it's still 2025 is still way out there. 2026 is, we're not developing the game in COVID anymore.
Yeah.
There better not be a delay.
Yeah. Look, I can get down. That's kind of my thinking. I think it's they're pretty decent machine games that pump out games. They in the past they have pumped out in quick succession games, and you've got Todd Howard's full backing on this one. You got to remember he's actually involved with this and has a hand in it. And on top of that, I think their pre-production was probably about 2 years, and I think full production is probably about 3. So it lands about the 2025 mark. Plus, I think they've already got some of these roles in-house. So, Umbra, what do you think? 2025, 2026?
They announced this when? Last year?
Year before. I believe it was 2020.
Was it 2020? I can't see it being any earlier than 2026. I think 2027, maybe 2026. Bobby Hawk said it's going to release in 2026, or what did he say, 2027, and it's going to be a point-and-click game. Man, that would be messed up.
Listen, Todd likes to take his time with these projects.
Yeah.
And this is his baby. He's a big fan of Indiana Jones. Like he said multiple times. I think he's just gonna take his time.
I hope so. I mean, there's no need to rush this. It's a big time IP as well. I don't know. I feel like 2026 to 2027 makes the most sense. If it depends though, right? There's a caveat, right? Risk. If it's a AAA game, I fully expect it to take to at least 26 or 27. If it's a AA game, I can see it being 2025.
Nah, this is AAA.
I'm thinking AAA too.
Bethesda will show you a CGI trailer and not mention anything about this game for years on end, like Elder Scrolls.
Yep.
They give you that beat. Dun, 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 dun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's my thing. So my only thinking is if it's a AA, we'll get it sooner, obviously. If it's AAA, we're gonna wait. So that's my thinking. And right now it seems like they're just at the early stages to me. So yeah, that's my thinking.
Absolutely. All right. Yep. I can understand that. And the poll in the chat, what did we get? They think we do believe that Halo can be saved. We're all very positive. Fantastic.
Thank you. See, they agree with me.
Yeah, I think they're wrong, but that's cool. I'm down with that.
Intelligent chat right there, boy.
I'm down with that.
I voted yes as well. It can be saved. Will it be saved? That's a different question.
This day and age.
Jedi said it can be, but will it?
And it's free to play. So
yeah.
I
think it will be. I think it will, and it can.
It
can and it will.
So is Bleeding Edge. Bleeding Edge is free to play as well.
I think it all determined on certain affinities. Battle Royale. Battle Royale games are huge at the moment, and they're incredibly fun to play. And like I said, it's not being developed by 343.
And frankly,
I'm interested in that and see if they release that this year, by the way.
When you talk about that studio, they do have a certain affinity with Halo. Anyway,
tomatoes in the chat, everybody. Tomatoes in the chat.
Just a slight caveat. Look, we're gonna get out of here. It's been a good 2.5 hours, guys. If you've stuck with us the whole way, we really, really do appreciate you guys in the chat. Are amazing. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for all your support. J-Rock. Sorry, do the guest first. I've got a bit of all over the place. Man, thank you for coming along, giving us your takes. It's been an absolutely awesome show. We've had a good laugh, man. I appreciate you spending your time with us today. Let the people know where they can find you, what you'd be up to, what your plans for the future are. You people get those damn tomatoes out of the chat. Sorry, J-Rock.
Yeah, throw those tomatoes in there. throw them up. They can always find me on Twitter. I'm still working behind the scenes on the launch of my YouTube channel, getting all the equipment ready and intros, outros, all that stuff set up for my fans. them gremlins out there. They know who they are. So I gotta do it right for them. So when that's done, I'll announce it on Twitter, and they can find me there most of the time.
Absolutely. If you do need to find J-Rock, he will be down in the description. Linked. KY Bob, man, another great show. Thank you for coming through again, giving us your takes, spending some time with us, hanging out on Xbox Infinite. Let the people know where they can find you, what you'd be up to, and tell them about your podcast, man. Let them know what's going on with that, what your plans are for the future.
Thanks for having me on the Xbox Infinite podcast again. It is always a great time to hang out and converse with you guys and ladies. And you can find me on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, Origin. It's all KY Bob. The YouTube channel, KY Bob. We do a podcast every Thursday called Game Set Live, and we just took on a new member, none other than Noof Nukem. He ended his Gaming After Dark show on Wednesdays and decided he was done hosting and felt like he just wanted to kick back, have fun, and be a co-host / panelist.
Oh,
wow. And we had our first show with Noof last night as DoomCutie as our esteemed guest.
I didn't know he
It was
was
a great
full-time
show.
with you guys now, Bob. So he's full-time with you guys now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're twins.
Noof Nukem is full-time on Game Set Live now.
They're
Nice.
He's like you and Bushido.
I'm the smoother
Can't tell
version.
who's
So
who.
who's the smoother version between you and Noof now? That's you got to figure that
No,
out.
there's just a
Right.
Wish version and then the real version.
Damn.
Yeah, look at you guys. You definitely need to check that out. That was a great show that you had yesterday. I really enjoyed watching it. I was listening and I was seeing all the slander in the chat, but I couldn't respond because I was driving. So Bushido and everyone else, you know who we are. I'm coming after you.
I'm still trying to get my groove on as when you're a host and you've only got like 3 panelists and the chat is just moving by like a snail. Last night, some of my panelists and I think Doom was one of them. They were asking like, "Bob, you all right?" I'm sitting over here. My chat's moving faster than normal. I'm
We're
trying to
just
keep up
chilling.
with it.
You were just
Yeah,
you
I was
took the back seat, and I was like, "You are the star. Come on."
I was talking to the chat and trying to, it was just trying to get myself up to speed as the channel grows. A humble channel. We had large aspirations when we started, and then we were introduced to that YouTube grind that everybody knows so well. And so,
Oh,
it was
Bob.
very. What's that?
I was there for you, bro. Love your show.
Oh,
mate.
yes.
Game Set Live is an amazing podcast.
He got there late though. Me and Cutie were there like
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, I was there. I was just playing Elden Ring at the time. I was stuck on that boss.
Yeah, I was. We all know I was the first. We know I was the first. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. It is not an easy thing to host. There's more that goes on in the background. I run 3 screens, and I've usually got a whole bunch of shit going on in the background as I'm doing whatever I'm doing.
Screen.
But you definitely need to get as many screens as you can. I would have 10 if I could. But look, we're going to get out of here, so we'll go DoomCutie, another fire, amazing show. If you want to catch any of the panelists or any of the guests, head down to the description and click on their links. Cutie, what do you be up to? What will you be playing this week? What are your plans? Blah.
I'm gonna be a pony this weekend. I haven't played my copy of God of War Ragnarok yet, so breaking that open. Using my incredibly beautiful controller that I know that you love. If anyone saw Riskit's reaction to my picture on Twitter, he was vomiting, not to me, I hope, but to the controller. But it did look like anyway.
It's the worst fucking controller I've ever seen. It's the most lackluster, slapdash, crap fucking controller that I've ever seen in my life. Like a PlayStation.
Much better.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, this looks cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Aww.
And that's not me being an Xbox. That's me, like, obviously being spoiled by Xbox's like customization and what you can put on there, and just
true.
like,
look, no one will compete with the beauty of the Forza Horizon 5 controller, and the Sea of Thieves controller, like just beautiful releases, beautiful collaborations with these games. So Yeah, so that's what I'll be up to.
The Halo
Absolutely.
Elite controller is fire too.
Yeah. I mean, if
Yeah,
you go
I'm
check,
ordering paddles.
you never
for
want to
the
be
back,
up
'cause
shit. You never want to be up shit creek without them. Look, yeah, if you look at Pope Art's
Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Tomatoes,
You
chat.
all know what to do.
Listen, thank God it's not Fable's not being developed by Aussies. Happy.
I swear.
JediKnightPete,
The
another
dad jokes
fantastic
is
show,
great.
another fantastic slew of jokes, a whole slate of jokes from Riskit. Thanks for coming through, man, giving us your takes every week and holding us down. Let people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, what you're playing, what you're looking forward to.
First one for the year. So thank you everyone in the chat. Super chats are awesome. You guys are amazing. I hope 2023 is awesome for Xbox. I love this show. I love you guys. I don't know what I'm going to be playing. I'm really looking forward to Dead Space. So I'm waiting for that. I'll be playing a little bit more Fortnite, probably a little bit more COD. You can find me at JediKnightPeter
Do you need me to
everywhere.
carry you again?
Great show, everyone.
I'm kidding.
Ooh. Damn.
Hey, we got some wins. We got some wins. It
We
was actually
did,
really
we
good. And
did.
even Pete said
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, got a few chicken dinners to me. It was fun.
She carried you,
We just had a super chat come in. Poo poo, PP, take me dollary dues. Thank you very much, Yidani Quizana. As we go to Umbra, man, another fantastic show.
Yeah, man. I was over here rolling, reading that. My dollar dues.
Now that's our currency. What's funny about that?
Yeah, dollary dues.
Can
What do
you give
guys
me
call them?
$5 dues?
Yeah, please let the people know where they can find you, what you be up to, what your blah 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 blah.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter, of course, on the Umbra Infinite or Infinite Umbra. You'll find me either way. And of course, here on Fridays at 7 o'clock Eastern. If you all have not subscribed, for a lot of new people I've seen in the chat tonight, or people who are probably lurking, subscribe to us. Give us another chance to entertain you. And come by and talk with us. We love the chat. They love us. Let us love on you. And I mean it exactly as you took it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and you you should let me love you. Now, and you all can find me, of course, on the Xbox Factor as well on Tuesdays with Boom and the Cast at 12 o'clock Eastern. And I just want to thank, of course, our guests, J Rock and Bob, KY Bob, to coming through and spending time with us and giving us your great and hilarious takes, and and the slander, of course, and my co-host and host of the show here. It's good to be back. First show of the year.
Absolutely. It was good to be back.
Oh, Risk. Mr. Joanna Darkhead gave me a new jingle to sing for the show. Did you want to hear it?
No.
I
Anyway,
Tomatoes.
I'll hear it.
on that note, pause. On that note, we are going to get out of here, but we'll say to you guys in the chat, you guys are absolutely amazing. I really appreciate you guys coming through and showing us your support every week the way that you guys do. Share us out, tell your grandma, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you next week.
Xbox
Awesome
Infinite
presser with your
and
droid, who, brother?
beyond.
What's with all the
Gotta have
cougar
games.
things? That's like the second time you mentioned mature women.